man today. What is it? Grand Coromino.
How did you know?
Because I finished one earlier this week.
There we go. Look at this. Here, you can give me a virtual toast. I know it's finished, but
Hey.
shout out to that little nigga Kevin Hart, man.
Shout it out to him. Here's what people have to understand about chemistry and building a good team in chemistry. It's when you can be on the same page without even talking about it. You know, certain times when Chris Paul is kicking it to book, you know, they ain't talked about the look. They just see the same look and they end up in the right place. You know, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison type stuff.
Reggie Wayne, yeah.
You know, how you doing, Parlay Pete? Good to see you.
I'm doing fantastic, man. This Cormino's got me right. It's got me excited. We got game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. I'm headed to Vegas tomorrow. I'm jacked up.
Yeah, man. You got a lot more going on than I do. I mean, I'm just sitting here. I got to take it easy tonight because I got to run 3 miles in the morning. So it's going to be a light night for the kid.
Nothing wrong with that. And you got a whole weekend and you just came off a holiday weekend.
You're right, man. I had a great time in Savannah. Highly recommend it.
That gives you an extra day of drinking. When you have those holiday weekends that extend into Monday, like this short week has been great because it's a short week.
Yeah, I love short
Friday is already upon us.
You know, I'm all for the 10-hour work day and the 4-day work week.
It makes the most sense. We have it like that at one of the warehouses in Texas. That's how we have it. It's they can choose it because we're still open Monday through Friday, but you can choose whether or not you want to be Monday through Thursday or you want to be Tuesday through Friday. You can set it up kind of how you.
Oh, that's dope because both of them work.
They do, exactly. It really, and then we make it even cooler. We set it up to where, like, you know, let's say you got a doctor's appointment on Monday. You miss a day, but you're a Monday through Thursday guy. Now you can just come in Tuesday through Friday. You still get your 40 hours, and you still get that doctor's appointment taken care of. It's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Speaking of which, did you see Elon? And he's saying, hey, back to work. I need that 40-hour work week. You ain't working from home no more?
I'm fucking with him.
Me too. As somebody who's worked from home and worked from the office, I think both have their perks. But honestly, if I'm paying you, I want you at work. I got to pay for this building.
I want to fucking see you. That's what I want. And I think for him, now it's kind of counterintuitive because he owns Twitter. And it's like, well, most people that are sitting at home are fucking on social media. Like, you know what I mean? Not that Twitter, at the end of the day, that ain't going to change whether or not motherfuckers will be at work on Twitter, right?
Absolutely.
But in general, I mean, I'm with them, man. We can't turn into shut-ins, you know, just because of a pandemic. Now, I'm all in favor of having it maybe even split a little, like to where, you know what, you can get, let's say, just like how there's PTO days for people, maybe you set it up to where you can have a virtual day or two. Like, and it doesn't, like, because who's to say that you're not there? Like, I don't know. You could set it up to where you, with a company within a month, you can get 3 to 5, however it sets up.
Yeah, and think about going on certain vacations, right? A lot of times you can be on vacation and get work done and get like a full day's worth of work done, but you're taking off and it's like, I'm not even being occupied like the entire day, you know? So I think that's the future of where we should probably look at going with our work days, because going to work Monday through Friday every day, all the time, it seems a bit inefficient, but also staying in the house all day, every day is crazy because as somebody who works with different remote locations, the first year it was tough because I hadn't met all of the people who I had to like work with and get stuff from. And like now that I've put names to faces with these people, it's a totally different thing. But hey, man, we got a good show for y'all today. We're going to give y'all a little teaser, a little greeny tease right here, you know. So we played this fun game of which artist are you? And we compared sportscasters to different musical artists. And so Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Troy Buck.
Troy Buck, right? We decided that they are the best duo in the booth. So we had to give the name them.
Across all sports.
Across all sports. So we had to name them after the best duo to hit the booth, and that's Outkast. So which one is Andre and which one's Big Boy, though?
Andre's definitely got to be Joe.
Yeah.
In my opinion, just because Joe can kind of do it all. Like, I mean, in a sense of like, I mean, think about it. Joe calls baseball too.
Golf.
And he's given us some, I would say he's given us more memorable lines than Aikman.
Yeah, no, so
like
there's no argument for
honestly, this is kind of like an overreaction, but that is a disgusting act by Randy Moss. He didn't even really moon the crowd, and like he just like made a big deal. But that's something I'll never forget. Like, of course, our Super Bowl.
Please remind me again.
By Edelman.
Yeah, no. So I definitely think that Joe has the memorable moments. He's going to be in the GOAT conversation when he retires.
Oh, for sure.
And
I love, and I'm excited now because now Monday Night Football can be bearable. Even if it's a bad game, I just feel like I can get into it a little bit more because Troy and Joe, man, they're kind of funny sometimes too.
Yeah, and Troy, when Troy gets pissed off and sees bad football, he actually will talk about it on TV. It's like, yes, this is what I want. Like, tell me that they're doing bad things. Stop protecting your relationships and call a damn game. So next we got the Inside TNT crew. We had to compare them to the greatest. And when we started this, we were doing rap groups. Compare them to the greatest rap group ever, and that's the WuTang Clan.
As a collective, for sure.
Because there's a bunch of different people. We got Shaq, Ernie, Chuck, Kenny, but then you still have your...
No, I was just got all four different personalities.
Like, exactly, but then you still got D Wade. They tried out KG. You had...
Ace. Even though there's no girl in Wu-Tang, but you got Ace.
Talk about Candace?
No, Ace.
Who's Ace?
Candace.
No, I'm about to say, is it another girl?
They had the commercial, and I think you coined you were like, so when did everybody start calling Candace Parker Ace? It was like an Adidas commercial or something.
Oh, yeah. It's probably a bad.
Their Ace in it going home to Chicago. I don't know. It was crazy.
It's probably a bad commercial that didn't move any products, but neither here nor there. Yeah.
Hold on now. I watched the WNBA game the other day, and
were you gambling on it?
On Google, the WNBA 2022 All-Star game, Google search was up 750%. They set a record. Now, that could be from 2 to 10. I have no idea. Actually, 2.5 people to 10, because that would be 750. I don't know. Look, I don't know. And I'm not dissing the WNBA game. Clearly, I was watching it. I'm supporting. Now,
it's
granted,
good.
I'm also a habitual gambler, so I had money on it. So
I was about to say you're gambling. It's good basketball. I don't want people to ever think that I don't think they play good basketball.
I don't even fucking know about that, honestly. It's put it this way. Is it good basketball? In my opinion, not really. But is it the highest level? Yeah, absolutely. It's the highest level for women. So if you do enjoy the women's college basketball, is way better. Here, we're getting off topic.
We are. They say, though, if you don't respect the WNBA game, then you don't know hoops.
Shout outs to Kobe, man, and RIP to that brother. I'm sad he's gone. Maybe the game probably would have grown with him, but sadly, I don't think LeBron or anyone else is going to pick up that torch and run with it.
No, LeBron's a billionaire right now. He's not worried.
Shout out to him being outside, I guess, maybe Tiger, being the first active.
No, I think he's the first active. I think the divorce set Tiger back.
It probably did. You know what? Everybody forget. Well, I don't forget, but the white guys at the country club, they forgot.
Because they was like, how could Tiger cheat on his wife? You cheat on your wife? What are you talking about?
Right, and then motherfuckers like, it's like, right.
But yeah, so then finally we have the ABC crew. Mark Jackson, Mike Breen, and Jeff Van Gundy as the Migos. So who is who?
Well, Breen's got to be Quavo just because he's the lead.
Okay.
So he's got to be Quavo. They're not really individually. It's not a good fit. It's just because they're a tripod. Because it's three of them, I can't think of too many three groups that are like popular
and good.
Yeah, Nah, man, I can't do that. We just know that Breen's Quavo. How about that?
We'll take that. And speaking of which, they're working tonight. Hopefully, Breen's back from COVID. We got the NBA Finals kicking off tonight. The Celtics versus the Golden State Warriors. Golden State are back to prove that they could do it without KD. Draymond is here to back up that quote. Say, we won one without you. We can win it without you too. Steph is saying, y'all don't want to see us next year, and next year's here. And guess what? Ain't nobody want to see him. And Jason Tatum is like, hey, man, I made for this. I text Kobe, and then I chased the clout by telling everybody that I texted Kobe, and I wore my purple 24 on my elbow like Kobe, even though I'm a Celtic. But, you know, I'm doing this one for Kobe. It's Mamba time. I'm excited. It's the battle of the light skins, like Prince versus Michael Jackson.
You could look at it that way, I guess.
So I think about these two teams, right? And it's old blood versus new blood. I think that to be fully confident in who wins, I think would be crazy. Because I think each team has something unique about them that makes them the matchups weird. Because Boston is long, and that length will irritate the hell out of Golden State. But at the same time, Golden State, they move without the ball. They have multiple scorers. And if we get into a scoring match, I'm taking Golden State all day, every day, because, I mean, Boston just got out of a rock fight with the Heat. And the Heat don't have Steph Curry on their team. The Heat don't have a Jordan Poole on their team, somebody who can really get to the cup, pull up and shoot. And Golden State's been there before. And Boston, they haven't closed out games all year. So I think Boston was the best team in the East, especially from where they turned it around from. But I'm not confident that they're
the NBA since 2022.
Right. But I'm not confident that they are the best team in the NBA in the 2022 season.
I just look at it kind of this way. And it's not that it's impossible, obviously, because people will be like, well, Steve Kerr won his first year at the Warriors. I look at it this way. Ime Udoka, granted, this was a group of guys that had the continuity. They brought Al back. They've had this team together. These guys have been together. Marcus Smart has been a Celtic, I think, for 7 years, maybe even 8 now.
I think it's 8.
And he's made the playoffs every year. So the Celtics are a playoff team every year, whether they're the 7 seed, the 8 seed, the 2 seed, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, 7, the 1. They are a bona fide playoff team. They've had all the ingredients. They've done what they needed to do to put this team together to find this success, not to mention they're one of the traditional teams of the NBA. Like they're one of the most popular franchise. They have more championships than anyone. Granted,
but they've only won one in 35 years.
Bill Russell and fucking Red Auerbach, I guess. But, considering they won, 12 or 11 in a row, something like that. Something ridiculous.
Back when the Plumbers played, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Lakers are a little bit more valid, coming from a Lakers fan.
Hold on, real quick, though. The Lakers won in the 80s. They won in the 2000s. They won in the 2010s, and then they won in 2020. So, LeBron, But the Lakers have been more consistently a championship franchise, whereas the Celtics are living off the glory days, kind of like the city of Boston.
They won in the 70s too, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Western got one. So
yes.
Yeah, so they won in the 70s.
I don't know what year it was, but the Lakers have been consistent, more consistent. The Lakers have been more consistent, but, Boston's here, and, this has to be an indictment on Brad Stevens, the coach. And I think he gets credit because he's in the front office and he brought Al back. But it has to be an indictment on Brad Stevens or Danny Ainge. One of them had to be doing something wrong.
I would say I would probably lean more towards Brad. And I say this, and it's not that Brad Stevens isn't a good coach, because at one point, some people thought he was really the best coach in the NBA.
Yeah, and they were wrong.
They were, but you want to know what it is? Some people just can't get teams over the hump. I'm not saying that Mark Jackson wouldn't have won a title with the Warriors eventually, but in reality, I think that Steve Kerr just gets a little bit more out of him. It's not that Steve Kerr is that much better of a coach, than Mark Jackson, but some people just get more out of a team. Mike Smith took the Falcons as far as he could. Dan Quinn, come on. I already saw you looking for it.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Nice hat, baby. Oh, by the way, new lids for the boys. I'm happy about those red lids. But nonetheless, some guys just get a little bit more out. Dan Quinn did with the Falcons. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we knew that team was good enough. So, and I put the same thing with the Celtics. There are many teams that if you look at it, they're just, once they make a coaching change, they get more out of them. And I think that this is just an example of that. Now, that's kind of the reason why I don't like Boston. I think Boston matches up pretty well with them, honestly, because of the versatility on the defensive end. Robert Williams, second team all defense in the NBA this year. Tatum and Brown can guard anyone from 1 to 4. And they're really year 2 and year 3. Marcus Smart, defensive player of the year. They Al Horford, that veteran presence that you need, the most playoff experience, a guy for what it's worth, regardless of him this being his first NBA Finals. Very successful player. As much as we said fuck him last Memorial Day weekend 4 years ago, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago,
2018,
yelling at the MGM at the top of our lungs and getting the crowd to go with us. At the end of the day, Al's been very successful since I've known who Al Horford was. That's 2 national championships in Florida. The Hawks hadn't made the playoffs in like 10 years. His rookie year, we make it, and then we go to the playoffs every year. Every year that Al Horford, except for when he was in Oklahoma City.
That doesn't even count because he didn't play.
Yeah, he did, right. And Sam Presti did him a favor, reserving some years to where he can play like this today. And so, a winner, though. But he's the veteran presence on the team. Then you got guys like
Peyton Pritchard.
Oh, yeah. Fucking
Grant Williams.
That plays, the prototypical white Boston player, right, that comes off the bench. Grant Williams, a guy who improved his game, had a big game 7 against Milwaukee. What did he make, 7 threes? You got guys like him. But you know what? When you look on the other side, we have the same exact thing. We have Jordan Poole, a guy who these playoffs at least, he was solid in the regular season, sure. But these playoffs, he was at another level. He was at a give me $25 million a year type level. And if you don't do it, Sacramento will. You know what I mean? He's at one of those. He's at that level. You look at a guy like that. You look at a guy like what's his name? It's fucking moving my mind. Andrew Wiggins, the worst NBA All-Star starter of all time. He still be balling. He's still a guy that averaged 25 a game that got him all that money. Then you got the rookies in Kuminga. What's my other man's name?
Who? Moody?
It's Moody. Yeah, Moody, Kuminga. These guys, they contribute. You know what I mean? As rookies. Remember, they still rookies. They're contributing still. You have the return of Klay Thompson. You got
Kevin Looney.
You got Kevin Looney, holding it down to protect the rim. They're set up. And, of course, nobody can forget about Steph Curry, right? And so I just think that it's going to be too much. I think that they've been there. Like I said, you got to look at the outside shit too. Boston, this is their first time, all their first time. They're getting there. First of all, they're traveling across the country. They're on less rest. They haven't been to the final. They haven't had to deal with the media of the finals like that. Remember the Warriors, this is their 6-1. These guys already know their ticket situation with their parents, their loved ones, their friends. They already got that set up because they've done it before.
They know Guillermo.
Be like, who am I going to give tickets to? They
know Guillermo going to be in their face asking dumb questions.
That's the only thing they know, though. Matter of fact, to get that on. Because I see Jimmy Kimmel is live, apparently.
Oh, because Guillermo probably doing some stuff. LeBron James.
Right. But how does it feel to not have to play LeBron James in the NBA Finals? Like,
and you know what? You know what I think the biggest key to this is? Jason Tatum is a smart basketball player who will defer to his teammates when it makes sense. And his second best scoring option, Jaylen Brown, can't dribble to save his life. And Marcus Smart is going to look at Steph Curry like their peers.
I think he's going to respect him.
Did you hear what Marcus Smart said to JJ Redick?
What did he say?
He said if we would have beat LeBron them in 2018, we would have beat Golden State.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever. I'm not even going to give that any thought. But at the same time, because you didn't beat LeBron. Let's start there. But secondly,
LeBron them got swept.
Come on, man. Y'all weren't winning shit. But nonetheless, I look at him as the key player of this series, though. I think how well he plays really will dictate how fast Boston gets bounced, to be completely honest with you. Because as the defensive player of the year, now you were already a really good defensive player, and we all knew that. You got to live up to it. This is the biggest stage against what you could argue as Steph Curry being him and LeBron have ran this era of basketball. 2011 on up. They've ran this era of basketball. LeBron, of course, being 1A, but I don't think it's far-fetched to say that Steph Curry's a 1B.
Bro, Steph.
And he's transcended the game. He did transcend the game at the end of the day. All this three-point shooting and shit, man, that shit's because of what the Warriors did. And, this is the biggest stage. You got a chance to do it against him. So I think that Marcus Smart, both sides, is the most important player in the series. I really do. And then on the Warrior side, I would even go ahead and say, I know a lot of people don't think this, but I think that Andrew Wiggins is the most important player. His production is going to determine kind of how good because let's just match it up, right? Smart's going to be on Steph. Brown, whoever.
I would put Tatum on Clay.
On Clay. And then the thought is that Tatum's going to be guarding Wiggins. And then, of course, when you get that depth lineup with Poole and Al and Draymond are going to be going at it. Well, and here's the thing. Yeah, Al and Draymond are going to be going at it, which is I can't wait to see. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's because Al is versatile enough to step out to guard.
Well, here's
Draymond,
the thing.
even when he's facilitating and setting up.
When
and then switch. This is going to be a good series.
When you were talking about Al, I think Al is honestly their best defender. I know that
Robert Williams is good.
Marcus Smart got Defensive Player of the Year, but I think Al Horford is their best defender. Real quick on Al Horford. Nick Wright had a crazy point. He goes, he was like, if Al Horford wins this title, he's going into the Hall of Fame. And then he compared him to Reggie Miller. And the All-Star games are the same.
He's got 5.
5, yeah. Career points.
With the Hawks, right?
Yeah.
Question is, does Al Horford, if he does get it, let's say he does he retire a Hawk?
I'd hope so.
He spent a decade.
Nah, he's going to retire a Celtic because he's a Celtic guy. He
will probably retire 42.
Yeah. Did he wear 42 or 15 with us?
Wasn't enough to retire 42?
Did he wear 42 or 15 with us?
Oh, he wore 15. You're right. Damn. just feels so long ago. He probably does go in as a Celtic, though.
He does, man.
Deion didn't do it. Deion could have went in as a Cowboy. He went in as a Falcon.
As he should have.
Well, that's the
We
purpose.
are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
That is a very interesting debate, though. Is Al Horford a Hall of Famer if he gets this title and he's a linchpin for this team?
Yes, because of what he did in college.
That too, yeah, because you're right. The pro basketball Hall of Fame combines it.
Yeah, they need to have.
He's low key, maybe already in.
He probably is. I mean,
he's not first ballot, but he's probably already in, honestly, because he's had a very good. I'll say this. He's not, but I don't think anyone expected superstar out of him, even when he was drafted third by the Hawks. I think he's lived up to the third pick in the draft, to be totally honest. And I know that's hard to say considering guys like Michael Jordan were the third pick in the draft. But
here's the thing about basketball. Unlike any sport, basketball requires a role change when you get to the pro level. I've yet to meet a basketball player who was a role player in recreation, then was a role player in middle school, was a role player in high school, was a role player in AAU, was a role player in college, and then got drafted as a role player. No, everybody got buckets, and then eventually when you got on a team where somebody else could get buckets better than you, or the coach said, hey, they get the buckets, that's when you become a role player.
Would you even say that Al Horford was the best player on that Florida team? I know a lot. No. Joakim Noah felt like the player.
Joakim Noah and Corey Brewer.
Corey Brewer. Oh, yeah, because Corey Brewer was definitely a bucket.
Corey Brewer got a 50-piece in the league.
Man, Corey Brewer was a bucket at fucking Florida.
So let's circle back to these finals.
No, I was about to say, I was trying to think about, they played Kansas, I know. I don't remember who that other natty was against. But
years ago. So we're talking about Steph and his impact and him and Marcus Smart. And I said to you, Steph Curry has to win Finals MVP for his legacy. And I'm not saying it like the stupid hot take artists out here who are like, he can't be in the room with the greats without a Finals MVP. No, he changed the game. He's changed the game more than LeBron has.
Transcended the game. Yeah.
He changed. Honestly, I mean, he changed the game more than Kobe has. You want to hear about Mamba mentality? Yeah, that's great. But no, like, Steph has kids.
Since Jordan.
Steph has kids pulling up from half court who can't make a layup. Okay, I've seen it at 8 and under games. It's disgusting, but Steph has done that to the game. Steph has put Under Armour on his back, and I remember living in California and seeing people hooping in Under Armour shoes. I go, get this out of my face.
How far away were you again from that San Francisco area?
Shit, 8 hours. I wasn't close.
How close were you to LA? 5, 6?
No, 2. Hold on. Which time? The first time or second time?
Lemoore.
No, that was Boink. When I was in Monterey, I was an hour and a half.
Okay, my bad.
An hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay.
But anyways, Steph has to win Finals MVP because there are those who are going to talk about Steph, who didn't really watch Steph, who didn't feel the cultural impact of Steph. And they're going to need to see that piece of jewelry, that trophy in his trophy case, so that they can properly contextualize him with the all-time greats. Because I pick on Kobe sometimes, RIP, because he only has one MVP. But
we know that he realistically, it sucks how it fell for him, but like he should have more than one anyways.
He should have more than one, but if you watch the games, you knew that he was the best to the third best player in the league over a very long stretch.
15 years to me. He was a top 5 player in the NBA for 15 fucking years.
But the way the MVP sometimes fall, like it just didn't make sense for him. And
when he had that success, like I said, you start talking. We're not gonna get too far into Kobe because I can talk about that for days. But even when you look at that three-peat early on, he played with Shaq, right? And Shaq only got one too. And so, like the thing is that you look at it, Kobe more than held his own. Like even then, like there was a year where when they won during the regular season, Kobe averaged 27, like 7 and 6. I mean, when you win in fucking 58 games, you did not. And you know what's even funny about those Lakers teams? They weren't even the number 1 seed every year. Typically, it was Sacramento, San Antonio, somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? They weren't even the number 1 seed. But even during that span, Kobe had those years where he could have won. You know, it was because he played with Shaq. And Shaq was averaging fucking the same amount of points and adding 15 rebounds and 3 blocks.
And he was
being arguably the most popular player in the NBA still, even at the time. Shaq was the most popular player in the NBA for about 5, 6, 7 years.
And he was a better basketball player at that point in time. Yeah.
I just think because Kobe was 22, 23, it gets overshadowed at how good Kobe was. Even with Shaq, I think Kobe would have been dropping 30 without Shaq, and if you gave him everybody else, because Dikembe is like the first person everybody could think of.
Let's get back to Steph.
I think he would have been a 30-point guy, but go ahead.
He would, but let's get back to Steph. So I say he needs it so that he's properly remembered by those who haven't watched him.
Well, the real question is, I tell you what, just a quick question. Where would you rank Steph today before this game starts in terms of guards, point guards at that? Because he's
all time?
Yeah.
I think 2.
I'm with you. I don't see anyone but Magic.
I mean, and he's the –
I don't count Oscar because it's Oscar. I guess Oscar's a point guard. And that is like kind of too far out. But modern basketball, 1980 on up, he's second.
He's second. And
you can't – there's no other point guard that anyone can name. Isaiah Thomas has been holding down number 2 for a long time just because of who they beat and how they went through that and then him being the best player. But he's only got 2 and he only went to 2. Now he's 2 for 2, but he's only got 2 and they only went to 2.
But he's not a league MVP.
He isn't.
I mean, it was hard to win MVP back then in the league that he was in.
Yeah,
you had Bird and Magic taking them all in MJ, but Steph has 2 MVPs, a unanimous MVP, and
the only unanimous MVP.
And when he and KD were together, his production didn't fall off a lot. They just got better. Like Steph's overall numbers in the finals are better than his regular season numbers.
And even though they didn't win that year, obviously, because they blew a 3-1 lead, I think, I asked this question on the poll, it's worse than the Falcons 28-3, in my opinion, because they lost 3 games in a row. They still won 73-9. It's the same way of comparing when Brady's resume is looked at. Yeah, they didn't win that Super Bowl, but we all remember that Tom Brady and the Patriots went fucking undefeated, and they steamed almost everybody they played until that Super Bowl game where they lost at the very end. So, yeah. And same kind of with them. I mean, that's what happened. It literally happened to them the same exact way. And I just think that it probably doesn't even get brought up enough. But, man, these motherfuckers didn't lose double-digit games in a season, man.
No.
That ain't wild to nobody else. Like, that's wild to me, even in today's NBA. How?
But then they turn around.
In a season where they played the Spurs, who the Spurs won 67 games. But people don't even remember. Like the Spurs had one.
I remember
all time, and they were a 2 seed. And I think that they only lost 1 game. They were 40-1 at home, and their only loss was to them.
And think about this one though. They just came off of a final season. They go 73-9. Then they go to 3 straight finals after that. Like. And year 1 of the KD experiment, I think they won like 66 games.
And let's not forget too that they were also down 3-1 to KD and Russ.
Yeah, and they came back.
Western Conference Finals. They came back from a 3-1 themselves, and so I'm just saying that season in general gets lost in the shuffle, in my opinion. They
question.
But I'm talking about in terms of a part of Steph's legacy. When you think about Steph Curry, he's the captain of the Warriors. You know what I mean? Like Clay is his Pippen at the end of the day. And even last year, them getting to the play-in. Now, granted, they were the 8th seed. If we didn't have these weird-ass rules we got today, they were still a playoff team. Ja and them got the best of them. They had already lost to Bron. Ja and them got the best of them. They did. Yeah. But Ja clearly, we can see that he's on the rise as a player.
Yeah, Ja gave him a crazy game. Exactly. Question though, at this point, is Steph Curry in a place where his legacy only increases? Can he damage his legacy?
No, absolutely not. He can't damage it. Can he make it better? The only way he can make it better, fuck Finals MVP.
Here's
can he get to 5? Can he not only can he get to 5? Because if he gets this one, he matches Bron. Right? He'll have 4 just like Bron. Can he get to 5? If he gets to 5, he's in the conversation with Kobe. Kobe's got 5. Magic's got 5. Tim's got 5. And his would be more comparable to Tim's. But that's why, as a group, this Warriors nucleus, it's more comparable to the Spurs than anything. Because Tim's the only one that's – now, granted, though, with them, the 4 would be the same as Manu, Ginobili. Well, no, I said Manu.
Manu, Tony,
Parker,
and Tim.
Duncan, right? Duncan's the only one that's got 5 and David Robinson's got 2.
Yep.
So, Bruce Bowen probably has 4. Well, I'm just saying he's a key role player. He's a starter. I mean,
yeah, but he's the role player.
It's just like saying Rick Fox has got 3 rings.
Yeah, right? I don't care how many rings.
But Bruce Bowen was an all-time. He was a first-team all-defense probably 2 or 3 times in his career. And so,
good for him.
Yeah. Big shot Rob Horry. There's all these guys. Steve Kerr himself. I mean, there are guys that were on these teams. Michael Finley got one, didn't he? He got one with the Spurs. But the nucleus, the point is Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, Pop. It would be that's the only equivalent. They can only get better than kind of what they did. And my thought is they win this series. If they don't win one in the next 2 years, they probably won't. To me, they'll be stuck right there kind of with that Spurs team. But if they can get one more after this in the next 2 years, then it's entirely possible because we have no idea what they're going to do. The NBA offseason is the fucking lottery. We don't even know what's going to happen. We have no idea what those numbers are going to be. But they got a trade chip. Think about it. They drafted James Wiseman number 2 overall, and that motherfucker ain't seen the floor all year. And
probably won't see the floor for him because –
Can you imagine if they drafted anyone else? I mean, I'm not even going to do the whole LaMelo thing because Jordan Poole has basically slid into what some people thought LaMelo could be if they had drafted him with those 3. And that might have stunted LaMelo's growth.
His growth would have been stunted tremendously.
Because he needs to lead a team. He has to kind of be.
He needs the ball in his hand, and I don't think.
But that's the glory of Steph Curry, and that's why we're talking about his legacy. The glory is that in reality, as good as LaMelo is, don't you think that Steph Curry could have moved to the 2 and Clay's the 3? Don't you think that could have worked? I think it could have worked tremendously.
It could have. But, you know what? That's a good point because
he can play off the ball, even at 6'2".
Steph could have played off. Steph plays off the ball. Melo plays on the ball, but Melo also learns how to play off the ball because Steve Kerr is going to make him play off the ball if he wants to play. And that's a what if. What is LaMelo Ball if he's put into that culture? And he brings that swagger. He brings the flair, the 6'8", the passing.
New Showtime.
Man, that would be
new
crazy.
Showtime. New Showtime. Seriously. Because you're giving one of the young, gifted facilitators in the league the 2 best, arguably the best shooting duo of all time. I mean, with a team that runs a style of offense that fits kind of what he could play, it'd be unbelievable. But point being, James Wiseman's a trade chip for them. They could win another championship even after this if they win this. And I saw an interesting stat too. I think Steve Kerr as a coach is 21-2 in game ones. That's impressive, man.
Hey,
granted, they've played at home probably a majority of these, but man, that's impressive.
Does Steve Kerr enter that conversation with Jerry West as one of the best people at the NBA in history?
You have to. I think I sent y'all something. He's won a title in some capacity.
90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. Or if he wins this one.
Well, he's been to championships and obviously won playing. You have to put him there. He's a commentator for a little bit. I know he was like the president of the Suns for like a year.
Yeah, he had the Suns at damn near at their peak. He was good on TV. He's a good coach. He was one of the best role players in the league when he played, and now he's one of the best coaches in the league. And I think he
all NBA 75 as a coach.
Right. And the thing about Steve Kerr, I was listening to Draymond talk about him on Cowherd's podcast, and he said, here's the thing, you will not get 20 DMPs with Steve Kerr because he's like, hey, I'm going to have to turn to you one day, but I can't expect you to play if I'm not letting you play. So he lets his players play because, hey, he was a bench player. He knows how it feels to have expectations without burn.
Not to mention, he played with, for all intents and purposes for this conversation, the greatest player of all time. And so, and he also was coached by, Phil, obviously. Well, hell, he was coached by Phil too. But
Phil and Pop.
Tell you what, him and Pop. So he was coached. It doesn't matter who anyone thinks. He was coached by the greatest coach of all time. And so, like, he's got a unique perspective of basketball, in my opinion. And it fits so well. He made they got Magic on. And I know that he was supposed to be on NBA Countdown this year. There's a weird story about that. He was supposed to have been on this thing permanently.
Magic Johnson?
Yes, sir. Magic Johnson is on. He was just on.
He's not good at TV.
He isn't. What is Magic, though? It's still Magic. It's Magic.
Magic's good at basketball and business. But, hey, let's sit with this Steph Curry thing for a second, right? Because you're comparing their dynasty to the Spurs.
That's the most comparable one.
And we're going to compare him to Tim Duncan. Don't you think that because of the lack of rim finishing, pretty dunks, acrobatic layups, that Tim Duncan and Steph Curry will not be properly placed in the top whatever conversation in NBA history because of their style of play? Because we're sitting here thinking about Steph right now, right? If Steph wins one more, he's at 4. We're not going to want to put him above Bron.
Because, and it's eye test for me, he's not the greatest player ever. And I don't think that LeBron, I've got a little bit of a bias, and I don't mind admitting it. I think Kobe is the best player ever, but that's because that's who I saw. I didn't see Jordan. I know about Jordan. I know everything. He's the storybook player, literally. But Kobe, to me, is the greatest player ever, just because of what I've seen, including with LeBron. I've seen LeBron. I think LeBron is – those are the 3 best. Those are literally the 3 best players ever.
You're going to make me have a Skip and Shannon conversation that I don't want to have, but there's nothing that Kobe can do that LeBron can't do.
Agreed. But at the same – well, hold on. Wait. Say that again.
There's nothing that Kobe can do that LeBron can't do.
I can't see LeBron – and maybe it's because of the teams that he had when he was younger. To me, he wasn't. Yeah, they were winning a lot of games in the regular season. I don't think that he was really one of my favorite. This was the day that LeBron James gained my respect. It was the Detroit Pistons game 6, bro, or game 5. I could not believe what I saw that day. Seriously. And LeBron is like the definition of a guy that's gotten better. Like, he literally, I've never seen, like, Kobe to me has always kind of been the same. He just was always great. LeBron, literally every year, free throws have still kind of been an issue with him. That's like the one thing that he just hasn't improved for whatever reason. Because he's got to be a career 70, 71%. Yeah, I don't know why. He just doesn't, he's not a great free throw shooter. But everything else, from his three-point shooting to being, he's always a leader, but like his leadership is like on 10. Now, like everything about LeBron has gotten better, but at the end of the day, yeah, LeBron's made some clutch shots now. And it's not the Kobe argument. I'm not saying, oh, Kobe's clutcher. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying, because analytically, actually, LeBron's made more bigger shots in the playoffs than Kobe has. But Kobe's never had to be in that position for the most part. Not like that, to where he has to make that big shot. He has, of course. Everybody, the most famous one is him doing this against Phoenix and them going up 3-1 in the first round. Meant nothing.
No.
We saw LeBron make one off glass against, was it Orlando? Or was it Boston?
Orlando.
One of them. He made one of them. It was the
he made the three off. He made the three on Orlando. Shot her around the world. He got the weird runner versus Toronto.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the corner. Yeah, that was a great shot too.
He has the one against the Bulls. Like I mean, I don't.
Yeah. But this is my point. This is what I'm saying. So it's not a Kobe's clutcher type thing. I just feel like, man, I'm not saying LeBron don't put fear in motherfuckers, but that nigga Kobe put fear in motherfuckers. Like he is a Jordan copy from that perspective, in a sense of, I just think that I'm not saying that LeBron doesn't have the respect of Kobe Bryant, because I think that it is.
I know what you're saying. You're saying that because
what I'm saying, man.
LeBron is a smarter. LeBron plays a smarter, less ego-driven version of basketball than your Kobe's and your MJ's, because
titles, he's had way more cracks.
Yeah, I mean, he's not had way more cracks because Kobe played. How many seasons did Kobe play?
20.
Every season is a crack, so I don't want to hear that.
And LeBron's approaching this year 20. No, this is year 20.
Hey, we're done with this conversation. We're done. We're not going to keep talking
forever. Yeah.
So, I mean, but this kind of takes us into which tier, right? Because the top tier of NBA players, I think, gets a little crowded. I think we put some players in a tier that they don't necessarily belong in, because we go, ooh, the eye test, ooh, the production, ooh, this, ooh, that. Well, yeah, does that production and that eye test work with 4 other people? No? Okay, then they can't hang out in this top tier. Like
James Harden's one of those guys.
Exactly. I heard
loves pudding somewhere.
I heard somebody say that Luka Doncic is the best player in the Western Conference. And I say,
ask him why he's not in the finals.
Exactly. Ask him why we can't name a star player who could play next to him and they actually work.
And you know what? This is the best way of looking at stuff like that too. If Giannis was on the Dallas Mavericks and Luka was on Milwaukee, what would be the outcomes? How far could Giannis take Dallas?
He would be playing against Boston right now.
Oh, you think they would have beat Golden State? I think that it just would have been a 7-game series. Even if I think Golden State would have still won. But and then if Luka was on Milwaukee, they would have won the first round. But I bet they don't take Boston in 7, just because of, and that's a more talented team that he's on, right? With Milwaukee, it's him.
Imagine defensively. Imagine defensively what Boston would do to Luka.
They would have and actually, because they didn't have Middleton, I guess technically, they would have forced Drew Holiday to drop 35 a night. This is what they would have did.
And I can live with that.
Chip in 15 to 18 every night. I mean, like that. Brooke Lopez was going to have to do the same. Like that's what would have happened. And so that's bullshit. I don't know who said it, but that's bullshit.
So let's talk about the top tier. Let's talk about the 5 guys in tier 1. Then we'll throw some names out there and we'll tell you what tier they're in. So who do we say?
As much as I shit on, I love LeBron. But we all know LeBron is still in tier 1 because he just did it 2 years ago. LeBron's in tier 1. KD, in my opinion, regardless of what people want to think, I know they got swept and it was him and Kyrie. That was a mess. That shit's a mess. KD's still in tier 1. Kawhi Leonard out all year, tier 1. Giannis Antetokounmpo, tier 1. Steph Curry, tier 1. There's your 5.
So LeBron, Giannis, KD, Kawhi, Steph. tier 1 NBA players.
These are guys, and that what we define tier 1 as. If this man's on your team, you're a contender, no matter what. The expectation literally is championship. All
right.
There is no other. There isn't a man. They had a good season and made it to the finals. They had a good season. They went 7 in the conference finals. No, these are guys. These alphas on these teams, as long as you don't have a catastrophic injury history like Steph did for what it's worth last year, these guys, as long as you've got some vets around them and it's not catastrophic injuries, you're guaranteed to be in that Final Four for the NBA.
All right, so let's do tier 2. So tier 2, we're gonna call it the Matt Ryan tier.
That's perfect. We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
It's the Matt Ryan tier.
You're an MVP level player. You're everyone knows you're not tier 1, but when you start asking about who do you replace this person with, you don't have a good answer. And winning comes with this person, but everything around that person needs to be right for a championship team. Tier 3, I would like to call tier 3. I'm trying to think of a player comp. Maybe I'll call it like the Kyrie James Harden tier.
Statistically great.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You're just statistically great.
We'll use an NBA player. How about that?
It's the Luka tier.
That's fair. Or
Kyrie tier.
He would be the best player I could think of.
Maybe Kyrie or Book. Oh, I like the Book tier.
Well, they're all in the same tier. That's the thing. You can really use any name. Brad Beal. Like, you could use all these guys.
Well, let's not give away tier 3. So tier 2. Let's throw some names around for tier 2.
Let's define tier 2. Tier 2's definition is they are good enough to get you to that finals, being the alpha dog without necessarily having another tier 2 player. They're good enough to get you there, because that's why Devin Booker wouldn't be in this tier. In my opinion,
he wins 25 games without Chris Paul.
But he's good enough to get you to the finals without having another tier 2 player. He can be the best player. He can get you there as long as the pieces align.
All right.
He can be the focal point.
And then I'm going to say tier 4 is really good, but we just don't know yet because we just don't know yet. Let's just keep it there. So first one, Jimmy Butler. What tier do you put him in?
Jim's in tier 2. He has to be because he's already been to the finals and we've seen it. So that's kind of an easy answer just because he's already been. He was just a game away from getting back to his second one in 3 years. So, Jim is definitely a tier 2 guy. And really, I tell you what, just to take, even though we did it, let's say it's the Jimmy Butler, Matt Ryan tier. How about that? Because Jimmy Butler really embodies the guy. It's not that Jimmy Butler is literally a top 10 player in the NBA. It's that everything intangible and then the way that the team is set up, it sets up to where he can get there. And to me, if they had made it, if they Boston, I give them, oddly enough, a little bit more of a chance to beat Golden State than I do Boston personally. And I hate to spoil, I guess, who I'm picking, but at the end of the day, that's exactly what I think. I think healthy that Miami would have given Golden State. They took the Lakers to 6. Yeah. So I
think this Heat team was better than that Heat team.
It was. Kyle Lowry was burnt out, though.
Yeah, I mean, people forget, when people were talking about Boston versus Miami, they're like, Boston's a superior team. The Heat had the better record, and they were injured all year. Jimmy missed a bunch of games. Bam missed a bunch of games. Kyle Lowry missed a bunch of games.
Jimmy gave you a LeBron-like performance in Game 6 to even force a Game 7. With no sixth man of the year. Kyle Lowry had his best game of the series by far in Game 6 too, but all those injuries. That injury report, man, I mean, it was half the team.
Hey, Parlay Pete, we're rapid firing, remember?
Yes, I'm sorry, my bad.
So I threw you Jimmy. Give me one.
The first person that came to mind was James Harden.
Today, as we speak, I think he's a tier 3 guy, but I will quickly bump him up to tier 2 next year if the hamstring stopped him from being able to get into shape. Because if you got a bum hamstring, you can't do anything. Like, you have to wait for it to heal. So if that was the reason,
you've had a hamstring injury,
huh?
I'm assuming you've had a hamstring injury before.
Yes, like when it feels good, you do something, you tweak it again. So like,
it seems like an ankle kind of thing.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is rest. And as a basketball player, James Harden
in basketball too, because not football but basketball, yeah.
But like James Harden, his body type, like him not working out because he can't. It's just overall bad for him. So he's tier 3 right now, but he could be tier 2 3 weeks in the next season. Trae Young.
You stole mine. I'm going to put him in tier 3. And I kind of would, similar to Harden, I feel like I wrestle with the idea of him possibly being tier 2. I just would need to see him, because we saw them get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he got hurt in that series, right? I mean, he missed a pivotal game 5.
And game 6, I was there. He wasn't.
We were there. We linked up.
No. That was Philly game 6.
You're right. I wasn't at the Milwaukee game.
I went to Bucks game 6, and he wasn't himself. Like he couldn't move. I pushed back. I think Trae's tier 2.
I won't argue it, but that's why I said what I said, because I feel like, yes, I've seen that he's absolutely can be tier 2. But my thought is, because that was the team that ended up winning the finals. I mean, they lost to who won the NBA finals. I just think I need to see what the Hawks do this offseason is going to be pivotal to their success over the next 5 years, which is the duration of that contract. And yes, they can build upon it every year up until the last year of that, because even by then, Trae will be 29, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Or 28 or something like that. So he's in line for another max and then possibly another after that. I need to see what they do in order to – I'd have to reevaluate. But today I'm going to firmly put him at 3 if I have to pick one. But I do like the idea that there's growth to be number 2 within just a year, depending on what happens. Next player. So for me,
send me one. Come on.
There's a player I'm thinking of. What do you think of Joel Embiid? What tier is he? He just played with James Harden. And granted, it was half a All-Star break move. Where does he sit? Because you thought he should have been MVP, correct?
I did.
Okay.
The way that we are doing these tiers, most people would put him in tier 2, but he hasn't made it out of the second round, and it's been because of him. And so I'm going to put him in tier 3.
2 for what?
I'm going to put him in 3. No, I'll put him in 3 because tangibly he's tier 2, but his intangibles aren't there. You know, him, like after the series, when he's talking about I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, because if I play, I'm soft. If I play and I don't play well, I'm soft. If I don't play, I'm soft. We need guys like PJ Tucker on our team. The way he was saying I miss Jimmy. Huh?
I said he would be a great fit for them too.
Absolutely. And the way that he was tweeting about Jimmy and all that stuff, because, you know, they were good together. I'm just like, hey.
Because, well, think about it. They're literally a Kawhi Leonard drop away from – they would have won the finals. I think as long as everything happens with Golden State the way it happened, I think Philly would have won that year.
Absolutely. I think that Joel Embiid is a tier 3 guy because he can be the best player on my team, but he cannot be the leader of my team. Like, I need Jimmy to play with Joel. I got a guy for you. Joel's former teammate, Ben Simmons.
Tier 4. No hesitation either. I don't think that Ben Simmons is someone anyone builds their team around.
I think that's the only way you can maximize Ben Simmons, if you build your team around him.
Well, I guess I look at it this way, because like we kind of define tier 2, he can lead that team. Ben Simmons doesn't strike me as someone that can lead that team. And then when I look at tier 3, why he doesn't fit there, he's not statistically, he's not even assists, defense, rebounds, everything. I don't think that it really adds up enough. And he's a mentally defeated person to begin with. This motherfucker, they were ramping this shit up. They down 3-0, and then all of a sudden he can't play. If they were down 2-1, he would have played. Bro, that's a mentally defeated person. Why not be the first team that comes back from 3-0? I don't understand. So Ben Simmons is a tier 4 guy, no debate, in my opinion.
Okay. Let's do 2 more apiece.
Are you on board with that out of curiosity?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I probably would have even put him on a tier.
And right, if we're being real, but because I have to place him somewhere, I put him there. Paul George.
Paul George.
Now, remember his history with Indiana and what he did do and who he lost to, and also what he did just now with Reggie Jackson last year.
You know what? I'm going to put Paul George on tier 2.
Me too.
Because when we talk about Paul George and we talk about the pieces being right around Paul George,
he can do it.
He can. And talking to a defensive wing in the NBA, one of his toughest guards, he said, is Paul George. Because he said when Paul feels like playing, he can do everything.
He can. And that's why I put him in tier 2 too.
Levine.
2 more now, or was that one of my 2?
That was one of your 2.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see.
So I've got 1 more, you got 2. All right.
No, you got 2 more. I miscounted. We both got 2 more. I miscounted.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Sorry,
all right, I have 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one for you. Levine.
4. I can't even put him in 3, and let me tell you why I can't put him in 3. He strikes me as somebody that's talented, semi-late bloomer. Most people don't even realize Steph Curry didn't make his first All-Star team until 5th year because there was that whole Monte Ellis thing. And he was just hurt. Like, he was hurt early in his career. But Levine strikes me as a young guy that has talent, and he's kind of been injured a little too. He, to me, definitely is a second fiddle, no matter what. So that's why he's in 4. He would never be in 2, in my opinion. He can't be the lead dog on a team with the right pieces and they go to the finals. I don't see it. The reason I don't put him in 3 is because his numbers just aren't as ridiculous as a Harden. Like, Harden is a guy that will give you 30, 10, and 10. So I don't put him in that league. He's no Harden. Harden's an MVP and he's in tier 3. So he's definitely tier 4. I can't see what type of team is put around him and he's the best player and he's the one leading them. I just don't see it.
All right.
I got an even better one, and I know where you're going to put him, but I want your just perspective in general when healthy. Zion Williamson. If he's healthy, remember, and his style of play, where does he really land? Now, let's not forget, what did this nigga just average? 27, 8, and 5 or something like that? But
okay.
He was healthy, and it was an all-star starter. He replaced somebody to where he started, but he still started.
Tier 2 talent. I'm probably going to put him in
tier 1.
Possibly.
I don't want to suck his dick like the media does.
No. I'm really wrestling in between tier. I'm wrestling between tiers 3 and 4 because Zion didn't make the playoffs, although he had those great numbers. I don't know how to evaluate him because Stan Van Gundy was his coach. And I don't know what
getting hurt.
Yeah, and I need to see Zion play next year with the team that he has around him. And once I see that,
I don't think he's going to be a Pelican, but go ahead.
If I can see him fit in with Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, I can come back in here and tell you how I feel because I don't know if Zion's peak productivity is winning basketball with the pieces around him, but I don't know if they're going to employ Zion properly.
So he's tier 4.
So he's tier 4 for me right now because I just don't know.
We don't know.
Rudy Gobert.
4. I don't even have to think about it. I was just thinking.
It's a joke though. It's a joke. We got to hit these two. I know you still got one cooked up, but we haven't talked about these two guys. Let's go, Luka.
Today?
Yeah, today.
Because I have to go based on what I know, man. He's got to be tier 2, and the reason why I say that he's tier 2 is because look at what he did have this year and where he got. He lost in 5 to who I think is going to win the finals. They beat the team that went last year, and they were the same team, and they had the best record in the league. I think that if you upgrade the talent that he has on his team, it doesn't have to change the system and how he plays. If you upgrade the talent, you find the better Dorian Finney-Smith. You find the better Maxi Kleber. You find the better Jalen Brunson.
Bro, this ain't 2K.
I'm just saying, if you maximize those guys around him, I'm not saying he needs to play with Joel Embiid or anything, but if you maximize those type of guys around him, I believe he's tier 2. And I'd be willing to say it just as why you have Trae Young in your tier 2 is kind of the same reason I would have Luka in my tier 2. Because now they've done the same thing essentially, right? Like they've accomplished, it took Luka another year, but they accomplished the same thing. And Luka has made the playoffs every year but the rookie year.
Here's me. I'm gonna put Luka in tier 3, but he's a tier 1 talent. Okay.
Yeah, right. And he's
a tier 1 talent.
Be a tier 1 guy
but when you think about Michael Jordan, 86, 87 time frame, right? The pre-Scotty years, he was supremely talented, but when he was averaging 37 a game, you're not winning the championship with that shit, dog. Like the style of play just does not work for other people. So once Lucas shows that he can adjust his style of play to where other people, like other top end people, right? Another top 20 player in the league will want to play alongside him. I think he shoots up to tier 1. But the reason why I put Trae a tier above him, Trae will never be tier 1. Trae will never be tier 1. Okay. Trae learned to trust his teammates more. And he
can't be Steph Curry.
Huh?
You're saying he can't be Steph Curry.
No.
That's who this game is compared to the most, right? So
but it's not Steph Curry. He's a much better passer.
He's Steph Curry light. I think people just think because he shoots threes from half court that he's Steph Curry.
Yeah, no, he's not the shooter of Steph Curry.
The same at all.
He's not the shooter that Steph Curry is, and Steph Curry is not the instinctual passer that Trae Young is. Like Trae's
a much better passer than
absolutely. So Trae will never be tier 1, but I think Luka will make the jump to tier 3 once they can get somebody next to him that he respects, and he starts to give his teammates more respect for what they can do and not being like, I have to do everything. But it's going to take him getting his ass whooped in the playoffs a couple more times for him to realize it. That's all.
I've got like 4 guys for this last one. This is crazy because I'm looking at the league and I want to like pick out somebody that's the most interesting case.
Okay.
So I'm going to choose the most interesting case out of the 4 that I'm looking at right now.
Hey, just send off 4 names.
And just give me a quick response.
I got a quick response, and then you tee up how the direction to go. Who?
Dame Lillard.
2.
I agree. I'm gonna save the best for last. Jokic. I feel like you're definitely 3 on him.
I don't know. I think
he's been to a Western Conference Finals too. Remember?
I think 2.
You think?
I'm higher on Jokic than I am on Luka, but 2.
Okay. I'm gonna save the best for last. I just lost thought of this other person. Ja.
3 right now, but he'll be 2 soon.
Does he have 1 potential?
He has faith.
Does he seem like a guy that's going to win 3+ titles?
God, no.
Because that's basically what these other guys.
I can't.
Guys are basically. Kawhi is the only one with 2.
He has 2. Giannis has 1. KD has 2.
Giannis will get another one.
Can I see Ja winning 2 titles? I struggle because players at his size typically aren't the catalyst to championship teams. So I'm gonna put him at.
Yeah, you got to give me 2. 1 more. I have 1 more, but then another one. Just because these 2 to me fall in the same area, and I know where you're going to place them, but just even looking ahead, Anthony Edwards.
He got tier 1 baby in him. He got tier 1 in him, baby. I love Ant-Man. I'm sorry.
He's Jimmy 2.0, but better.
Yeah, I think he can be tier 1. I think Anthony Edwards can be the best player in the league at one point in his career.
Okay, and then the last one, just because I was looking at teams, and this one it's gonna be a wrench. You're not expecting this. Evan Mobley.
I didn't watch enough Cavaliers games. So I'm going to put him at 4, but I think he has tier 1 to tier 2 potential. Like the way he played defense this year from the games I did watch and the smart people I listened to, he played defense at a level that most rookies don't. His offensive game is nice, but it's plenty of room for improvement, and he has time to improve.
That's the point, bro. Like he's gonna be so nice, and like even me, but obviously being the biggest Colin Sexton fan alive, they could trade. They could say they want to stick with Colin, a la Steph Curry, Monte Ellis. They could say that they want to stick with Colin over Garland, and let's say that they trade Garland and get some really nice pieces. I think Evan Mobley is the best player on the Cavs.
I think he is
honestly, and maybe it's because he plays with Jared Allen too. Being he's another big that's similarly. I think that Evan Mobley is going to be and I said this on a podcast before with you that I think that Evan Mobley could be the next, and it's weird in today's league. He could be the next Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain type fucking talent. I'm not saying he's going to average 50 points in 22
I know what you're saying.
But what I am saying is that, like, bringing back a big man that's fucking the game up, bro, I think that he got it. I really do. I think he's going to be too good.
And I think he has the body type that doesn't get hurt like an Embiid. He's not too heavy.
And he's what? Is Evan Mobley 7'2", 7'3"?
Nah, he's probably like 6'10".
Hold on. Let me see.
How tall is Evan Mobley?
He's 6'11".
Perfect. So yeah, he's a legit footer. He gives me
athletic as fuck. He gives me so where if he grows in, he can look like Giannis or Dwight Howard. Like
he gives me athletic Chris Bosh, more KG than Chris Bosh, but I can't compare anybody to KG because of the intensity, the craziness. Yeah, I can't compare.
The shit talking, like just the shit that you can't, the attitude towards the game, the everything. Kevin Garnett was a really special player too. The more and more I look back at it, I would probably put him second or third at power forward. We were talking about Tim Duncan earlier. Tim Duncan is definitely the best power forward of all time. When we were talking about underappreciated, I don't even see how you don't think Tim Duncan's the best power.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I don't know how you.
My all-time starting five. He's the power forward. No, it's not Karl Malone. It's not fucking.
You think I'm gonna put that baby fucker in my shit?
Man, even if he wasn't a baby fucker, he's still not in it. I'm just saying, Tim Duncan.
And by baby, I mean young woman, not actual kid.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I know, but if somebody hears this, I don't want them to think I'm calling Karl Malone an actual
Karl
baby.
Malone had sex with a 14 or 15-year-old or something. Got her
Had a
pregnant.
kid and didn't.
Swin Cash is the daughter.
Is that who it is?
Well, that's his daughter. His daughter's was in the WNBA. I think it was Swin Cash.
Fact check that. But look, we wanted to set up these tiers, right? Because we wanted to talk about players and whether or not you should pay them.
Cheryl Ford.
Cheryl Ford. It shows you how much WNBA he watches.
If I don't have any money on it, bro, that shit's background music to me having sex. But go ahead.
I mean, it's better than I wouldn't even give him that much.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably muted. It's just on the screen at that point.
Yeah. So let's talk about players that we would or wouldn't pay, because there are the few players who are up for contract extensions, possibly some on the last year of some have a player option, looking for long-term deals. Some have the opportunity to sign a supermax. And some are just
Zion's up for it, isn't he?
Huh?
He's eligible for a super
Zion?
max. Yeah.
I was going to get to him.
This is
but I'm not
after
gonna,
year 3, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to open with Zion, no. I'm going to open with Kyrie Irving. If you're the Nets, do you sign Kyrie long-term, or do you make him play it out and possibly be able to walk?
I think that, but it's a player option, I thought.
He has a player option. So he could walk now, or he could.
He's going to opt out no
matter
what.
Opt in. Huh?
I think he's going to opt out no matter what. And him opting out at the end of the day sets up, they have no choice but to extend him. And they've got to hope that they can put the team together, because pressure will mount on Steve Nash in general, regardless.
He needs to be fired anyways.
Huh?
He needs to be fired. He's not a good coach.
It just remains to be seen. This was the second year. To me, it remains to be seen. I just think that we haven't seen enough. And because we haven't seen enough, I put him in the tier 4 of coaching. Because we don't know. We really don't know. He hasn't been a coach long. The team hasn't been healthy. There's just a lot that's going on.
And that's why he needs to be fired, because he's had turnover on his staff too.
It's unlike Jason Kidd, right? When Jason Kidd was with the Nets, they had a bunch of veteran players. They were just old, right? But Joe Johnson still could play. Darren Williams, we thought he could play. But we knew Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett were still good players. They just weren't carrying a team anymore.
No.
So the thought was that Brook Lopez was the one guy you already had. He was your all-star, right? Because he made all-star games with the Nets. And then getting Joe from the Hawks, Joe was still 20 a game, and Darren should have been still 20 a game. I don't know. But if
Jason Kidd had to learn, and he's a good coach now. He wasn't a good coach then. So, question: if you're Sean Marks, are you re-signing Kyrie to a long-term deal?
I am if I want to keep Kevin Durant. Yeah. I don't.
All right.
I don't see how you don't. That if you don't do it, not only is he leaving, but Kevin Durant's leaving. So you want to keep Kevin Durant no matter what. You want to keep Kevin Durant. If the Lakers approached LeBron James this offseason and said, hey, we're trading AD, and then he's going to be like, okay, for who? And then they're going to be like, we don't know yet. And then they're going to be like, y'all don't have a fucking plan. And he's going to be
walking
like,
in the next year
too. Yeah, get me the fuck out of here too. Y'all already hired. And I'm not saying that Darvin Ham isn't the guy, but it's y'all already hired a nigga that ain't never coached before. And look, I know that I look like I make miracles out of shit because Tyronn Lue had never been a head coach either. But he's clearly not a bad head coach because the Clippers did what they did this year. So, and then y'all didn't hire him when you had the chance to. And I get it. I won with Vogel, but maybe Ty would still be here no matter what happened. And so
Ty would have still been there because.
And he's a Laker. He's a Laker. And then you start talking about all these connections and keeping niggas in. Look at Wig Dog. Oh, getting blocked.
Question. Okay, so you would re-sign Kyrie. Would you re-sign James Harden long term?
Ooh, see, and is his a player option?
He has the option. Yeah, player option to opt in.
I think he's going to opt in. I don't even think he's going to opt out just because he's got to ask himself, what's his market like? Like, who would actually – it would be a sign and trade, I feel like, for him for sure. I think Kyrie could fetch. It would just depend on Kyrie's, like, motive. But, like, Kyrie could fetch. To me, somebody would still pay Kyrie. I think James Harden's questionable on how much you want to pay him, honestly. Not that he's not good enough. It's just more of a what can he really provide to my team? It's kind of like, I hate to say it, he's going down the Westbrook path. And so it's just kind of like, well.
So, no. I can't let you say that. I can't let you say that.
Wait. No. He's a better shooter. And I would argue possibly a better facilitator. But like
absolutely.
At the same time, his game isn't built off explosiveness like Russ's is. Russ is Derrick Rose if Derrick Rose could have made it this far, right? But like, and maybe even arguably, they both won MVPs. I would say better. He's better than Derrick Rose. I think prime Westbrook.
Yes, yeah, prime, yeah.
But that's an example of that. I'm just simply saying in terms of the way he looked in the playoffs, he kind of looked like Russell Westbrook from a standpoint of, man, I'm not showing up when I really need to. And that's an issue. Like, to be paying somebody, especially in the position he's in for that Supermax, when you're paying a motherfucker $50 million a year, bro, I need some production. And so here's
what I'm going to do.
Know how much I like. But with the Sixers, if I had to make a guess, Daryl's going to pay him.
Daryl's going to pay him. Daryl's going to pay him. Daryl's going to retool the roster too. So you think about the roster that they had. You got Joel Embiid. You have Danny Green, who can't shoot anymore. You have Maxey, who is a slasher. He can shoot, but Maxey needs the ball in his hand. And you got Matisse Thybulle, who can't shoot. I was going to make a bad joke. Who can't shoot either. They're going to retool that roster and add more shooting so they can add more space. And you're not going to be able to camp out and wait on James, who is a step slower. But again, we don't know how healthy that hamstring is.
And he's a worse defensive, as crazy as saying, he's a worse defensive player than Westbrook, though. I would still take Westbrook on defense over him.
I don't know if I would do that because Russell Westbrook, like, just he does
dumb down and block some nigga shot. James Harden's not doing that. So,
but James Harden has quick hands. He does get steals. Russ lollygags too much on defense, and Russ is capable of being a great defender. So I don't know. I don't want Russell Westbrook on or near my team anyway. So I think you re-sign James because I think James has more left in the tank than what he's shown. Zach LaVine. If you're the Bulls, do you sign Zach LaVine? If you're the Lakers, do you try to make a move for Zach LaVine? Zach LaVine's out there. Do you give him a max? Is he really? I mean, I know he's going to make the max. I know he's going to make the max, but is he a max player?
No, but then that goes back to our tiers thing. It's one of those things where no, he's not a max player. The reason he's not a max player is because he doesn't bring max production. And so I think he's a second fiddle guy. If you're set up correctly, that's why how Chris Middleton got paid so well, because he can play second fiddle to a player as great as Giannis.
And Klay Thompson.
It doesn't take away from who Chris Middleton is and how good he is, because in reality, at the end of a game, if you need a bucket and it's going to be a 22-foot shot, I still want Chris Middleton taking it over Giannis. It doesn't mean that Giannis isn't the better player. It means that Chris Middleton knows his role. Zach LaVine doesn't strike me as somebody that knows their role. He feels like he's an alpha. He's really a beta. So
I think DeMar gave him a little bit of straightening this year.
But that's part of the reason why he's running away. It's kind of just like, well, bro, you go ahead. You take it. You clearly. And the thing is, actually, he's kind of a younger DeMar in a weird way. Like DeMar was – now he's a little bit more athletic. But DeMar could dunk – like
DeMar had crazy bounce when he came into the league.
He had some bunnies, right? So, like, they're kind of the similar player in a weird way. But the reality of it is this. They're not getting through Tatum and Brown. And we know that now. they're sure as fuck not beating Middleton. And if we're just looking at duos, what it is Vuce isn't holding up his end of the bargain on that team. But nonetheless, somebody will give it to him, because even if Oklahoma is like, man, we'll pair him with Shea or whatever.
Sam Presti is one of the most overrated GMs in the league, and we'll get back to him later.
Really? LeBron doesn't think so.
That's fine. LeBron won at Russell Westbrook.
Hey.
LeBron won at Russell Westbrook. I think Sam Presti is a good GM, but he gets talked about.
James gonna follow down the path of Jordan. You know exactly what I'm talking about, too.
He's showing the ability. He is showing the same signs as MJ when it comes to team building. I think he's a step slow. So last one. Hold on. No, fuck that. If you are the Bullets, the Wizards, do something about Washington, D.C. teams not knowing the right names, like just being super insensitive. Like, come on, D.C., really the Bullets? All the murder going on down there in Southeast?
Nah, man, with the Bullets. And then, like, the logo is like a smiling bullet. It's crazy. In the nation's capital, of all places where nobody wants to see bullets flying there, because the president is there. Or should be. And so is the rest of Capitol Hill. And
so if you're the Wizards, do you supermax Brad Beal? Or do you give him the Kemba Walker treatment?
Trade him and rebuild. Trade him and rebuild. Because you'll be able to get enough for him. And especially, he doesn't have to force his way out. And it would be respectful to send him where he wants to go. But at the end of the day, I think if you just send him to a playoff team, say the Atlanta Hawks, let's say he doesn't want to come here and he would rather play in Denver with Jokic. In reality, he really doesn't have the choice, unless he has a no-trade clause. He doesn't have the choice. Who's going to give you the most talent to go back on and kind of rebuild? Who's going to be in a state of – because wherever you trade them, you're not getting a good draft pick unless they have somebody else's draft pick that's bad. So you won't really be in that position. Who's going to actually give you back some players that you can work with, deal with, even if you deal them for small picks, and it kind of like what Oklahoma City's doing. The Hawks would be a perfect team, because then you can put, even though it's a small backcourt, it's clear, bro, that if Trey gets a running mate that's a scorer that can score just like him, it's going to be a smaller guard. It's unfortunate, but we've got to settle for this. Nobody can just beat Golden State. We just can't all have – before the injuries, an elite Klay Thompson type defender that's 6'6", 6'7". Like,
no, you know what? I like him going to the Atlanta Hawks, and we max him, obviously.
A lot of games. I think we won 50 games with that.
We score a lot of points, and then we try to hold on to DeAndre Hunter, and
I swapped Capella for Ayton.
I don't want to pay Ayton what he wants. I don't want to pay that much.
At this point, go into the luxury tax, man. Just pay him, because you're still paying like Capella 18 to 20.
Yeah, but what center in the league is worth $30 million? Jokic, Embiid.
Oh, well, see, I didn't say pay him 30. I'm not paying him 30.
He wants a Trae Young rookie extension.
Yeah, he's not getting it. Sorry.
What, the 175? That's what he wants.
Charlotte is the only team that has the money to probably do that. And then that would be Gordon Hayward going to Phoenix, which could work, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
So you brought up Ayton. How much do you pay Ayton if you're Robert Sarver, the racist allegedly cheapskate?
25.
Yeah. Last one. Zion wants the Michael Porter max. At the least. Michael Porter Jr., not Michael Porter Jr., the Denver Nuggets former GM, who is now the GM of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
They know his health record. If he's fucking hurt, and they know, they're like, man, he's low-key damaged goods. Yeah, if he plays, he's going to be, who he is. If they believe that his health record tells them that he's not going to be very good, like to where it's just that will be a question for the rest of his career, man, I'm hitting the Knicks up and I'm saying, hey, man, look, I'm gonna need that Ricky Williams deal. All right, I'm gonna need all your draft picks. I'm gonna need everybody but RJ. You can go ahead and send us back Julius Randle too. We need all them picks, Randall. Man, I'm going to need all you guys. Quickly, give them to me. Give them to me. And I have to be like, yeah, put him with RJ. I know he wants to be here. He clearly wanted to be a Knick to begin with. Bring him here.
Now, here's what I'm going to do. If you give me the Ricky Williams deal, I'm going to give Zion the Ricky Williams contract that Master P negotiated. Because Tim Connolly, right? Tim Connolly, he really messed up the game. He may have messed up the game more than the Haslam family did by paying Deshaun Watson all the money that they paid him. By offering Michael Porter Jr. the rookie max extension, 4 years fully guaranteed, and that last year is partially guaranteed, but if he's on the team, he's going to get his money. You're going to offer that to a guy who had some of the worst medicals coming in, and then he's been hurt while he's been in the league. And now that sets a precedent for CAA and Zion to go, bro, they paid Michael Porter Jr. I'm better than him. But I've only played 85 games in 3 years. I go, yeah, hey, dog, that's a season and 3 playoff games. Here's what I'll do. I will offer you the max, but it has to be incentive-based. I'm sorry, bro. Like I
feel like that's exactly what type of deal he's going to get no matter where he goes. But somebody else might be willing to go out.
The Kings will offer him the full max.
We know he's not going to Sacramento. You know, we know that.
But who's to say that he won't sign the offer sheet just to make New Orleans either match it or hit him with the restricted free agency piece, and now he's on the 2-for-1.
It's going to be one of those things where I think no matter what, Zion's deal will be injury-based incentive, like because we have to go off what you proved. It's not that we don't believe in you, especially if we're giving up a lot of capital in order to do this. You have to understand. Now, if he's getting that 5 year, let's say it's a 5 year, $200 million, right? 5 year, $200 million. We're going to guarantee 150, but we're also going to have a team option after year 3. Something like that. Like, you know what I mean? I've got to make it work for both of us. As long as you're producing. Because you can make more money. And we want to give you that money. We really do, because we think that you are that guy. But at the same time, bro, look, we already saw what happened to Derrick Rose. Shit happens, man. And we don't need this to be set. First of all, my job's on the line. My job's on the line too. And I don't make nearly as much money as I'm telling the owner that I'm willing to spend his money to give to you. So we've got to make this work. But he's got to keep it real with him.
And that's the thing, because like Gail Benson, who is the owner of the Pelicans, owns the football team. And I think she's bringing some of that football mentality into what the Pelicans are doing. And I think it's a great idea. I think one of the reasons why NFL players, you know, I love the leverage that NBA players have, but one of the reasons why the NFL team building aspect is so much more astounding and so much more entertaining is because these players are playing for a paycheck. Like, they're playing for next season. They can be cut, you know, and they say it's hard to stay hungry in silk sheets. And if I guarantee you $175 million, and then you only play 35% of the time, I'll go, well, that's just putting money on fire. And it's one we always take risk. You're always taking a risk when you're signing a player. You're signing on potential. But at the same time, if you've shown me in a short period of time that you are likely to be out, I can't guarantee you money. And that's the difference between football and basketball. And let's talk about a little football, because we love football here on Big Baby and Parlay Pete.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
So right now, man, it's OTA season. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk around OTAs. And a lot of teams do it differently. A lot of players do it differently because these are voluntary workouts, right? Right now, OTAs, you do not have to be there. You don't.
I heard the rise up as I was walking back to the studio here.
I was transitioning to football. So talking about OTAs, man. And, OTAs, it's nice to have people there, off-season team activities. But for the vets, no, bro. Like, I don't want to hang out with these rookies. I don't know them yet. We're not in pads. I'm working out with my trainer. If I'm Brady, I got the receivers out where I'm going. If I'm Deshaun Watson, we're going out to like Bermuda or Aruba or somewhere in the Caribbean. I got the guys I need to be with. We already have the playbook, so we're working through our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're just having a little bit more fun, but we don't want to hang out with all y'all because what people don't realize about football teams, unlike basketball teams, are way more segmented because the team is so large, and you're usually with your side of the ball, and you're with your position group even more. Like,
coaches.
Yeah, like, bro, I don't. If I'm a DB, I don't have to know the tackles, the old tackle. Like, I don't need to know the offensive linemen. Like,
there was somebody on the Pittsburgh Steelers that's a linebacker that signed with them and said that they signed because of Brian Flores.
Good for him.
Well, I'm just saying in general, just how these OTAs.
To be in that room. So we get all this talk about people missing the OTAs, and
it means nothing. It's fucking voluntary. I mean, that's
my thing. If you want people there, make it mandatory.
Let me tell you something. Is it a great look? Of course, it's a great look. But I look at it this way, and I'm unfortunate I won't be able to go to it. And I'm assuming you're not going to, but I know that you know about it. Falcons are having an open OTA practice at the stadium tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I got that text. I'm like,
on a Friday. Yeah, and I get it. Businessman special. If you ain't got shit you got to do, you can take off work early. You kids out of school, right? Like that whole nine, like you can go and do all this extra shit. And honestly, I would have done it. If I wasn't going out of town, seriously, I just would have went up there just because it literally is down the street. But outside of that,
walk.
What is really the point of that? And they're trying to get the fan base hyped. They want to be like, man, yeah, we're going to see Drake. We're going to see Ritter.
We'll watch Ritter throw duds to Drake and get pissed off.
Well, and think about how much more we're going to fucking suck this year. But no, they are overrated, to answer the question. It's an overrated thing because it doesn't mean anything. I think Aaron Donald sat out a whole OTA until he got that last contract extension. And, he didn't miss a fucking beat. So I don't know. They're important. Now, if a rookie who hasn't signed his rookie deal yet is out because of it, that is a little concerning just because they're already behind. They already have to catch up to NFL speed, playbook, this, that, and the third. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. But when it comes to the vets not being there or contract disputes, it's the dumbest shit ever. These guys, they get paid for a living to stay in shape, and they continue to work. They work on their game anyways. I mean, right. Yeah, on IG, we might see these guys on yachts with chains and bottles and bitches and all this nonsense. But come on, man. Aaron Donald, he's going to be ready to play week 1 unless he's retiring.
Who would you rather be working out with? The team's strength and conditioning coach or your personal strength and conditioning coach who is with you all year, who is highly compensated by you to make sure they take care of you? Huh?
Brady's already answered that question.
Right. Hey, so listen to this. Did you hear about Lamar Jackson and Chris Sims going at it?
No, on Twitter or something?
Yeah, so Chris Sims goes, I've heard Lamar Jackson say he wants to win Super Bowls. He wants to win a bunch of Super Bowls. I think there's a time where he said he wants to be like Tom Brady. I remember him saying that earlier in his career. Well, Brady wouldn't be missing OTAs in year 4 of his career. That's what I want to say to some of these young quarterbacks. And Lamar responded. Lamar said, Lamar wants to be Lamar, Chris. This part of OTAs is voluntary, my guy. I will be there, just not on your watch. It's probably other QBs not attending voluntary OTAs either, but since it's Lamar, it's a huge deal. Find something else to talk about. Eye roll emoji.
Yeah. By the way, Steph Curry is going absolutely berserk. He's got 21 points in the first quarter.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. It's only a 4-point game.
It is, and I'm just going to tell you. I know we don't have the betting segment. I wish we kind of recorded for it, but I put in a prop bet.
Okay.
He's 6 of 8 from 3. His over/under for 3-point field goals made was 3.5, and I hammered it the over, of course. And the fact that he's cleared it by 2.5. Yeah, I think to answer the earlier topic we had, I think we know exactly what Steph Curry wants out of this series. Because if the confidence is in them from the guys in the desert at the cage, that means somebody on that team is going to win MVP. I think that this first quarter, he's setting the precedent exactly for what he wants to get done. He's probably tired of hearing people fucking talk about this shit.
You're right. Just like Lamar Jackson's tired.
We all know that he should have won over Iggy.
He should. Just like Lamar Jackson's tired of hearing people like Chris Sims say outlandish things on TV about him and his cohorts. Because, one thing about being a non-player analyst or just talking head, they'll only go so far with taking you seriously, but also being offended by what you say. That's just my opinion, right? But when you did it and you weren't good, it's like, hey, Sims.
Right.
Sims.
It's just like if
when Shannon says certain stuff,
back says some shit to
Tim.
Yeah, I mean there are just certain guys, and look, I remember when Chris Sims was the Bucs quarterback too. Just because he's an NFC South guy, he's Phil's son. There's a lot of stuff, and I like him honestly as an analyst. I actually do. Him and we didn't even talk about Florio and Sims. They're pretty good for what they do. I love Pro Football Talk.
I will put them in a category of really good, but I don't listen to.
I love watching them on YouTube.
I'm not a big Florio fan, honestly. And I listen to Sims on certain stuff. But once he
former attorney.
I know. But when Sims put Zach Wilson as his number one quarterback.
Yeah, but come on. We can't just go straight off these guys' drafts. Everybody misses on the draft. You know that I want
nobody said Zach Wilson was the best quarterback coming out of the draft. And he had a great COVID year, and he had no other great years.
Some people thought that he was like Aaron Rodgers.
And some people are dumb.
They were kind of giving him his ceiling comparison was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's closer to Johnny Manziel than Aaron Rodgers.
We'll see. This year he's going to get to prove it. He better be at OTAs.
Yeah. Kyler showed up to OTAs. At first, he said he wasn't going to come, which I guess he thinks he's going to get paid. Would you pay Kyler?
No. If you're Cliff, you honestly don't really have much of a choice.
Because y'all got the same agent.
Because you don't really have much of a choice. You're kind of married already, and you're not getting a divorce. No matter how unhappy you are, you just really got to make it work. And the thing is, the Cardinals have talent. They're in a tough division. Seattle is now going to kind of be a walkover, I guess. But, bro, you got the Super Bowl champs who just embarrassed you in your division, and they're a superior team. They're much better than you guys. You got
Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers who will run the ball down your throat.
Who you can argue really are the one team, if any team in the playoffs plays them, that might be the one team you don't want to play no matter who's quarterbacking. They're just a team that just, for whatever reason, is always pretty prepared.
So
it's tough for him, but if I'm them, realistically, no, I wouldn't do it. But they kind of have missed it. They got to run it this year, no matter what. I would have, like we've talked about, I suggested it. I thought that they should trade him to the Texans. They could have gotten the number 3 pick.
Or Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Actually, no. You're right. It was the Deshaun Watson deal. And I would have dealt with it that way because Cliff could still work with Deshaun. Even in that was offense, he could have worked with him.
That was one of your best forecasts, I think, on the pod, because I remember when we put it out, some people on YouTube were like, they would never get rid of Kyler. It's like, they wouldn't get rid of Kyler, but what if Kyler doesn't want to be there?
What if Kyler doesn't want to be there?
What if Kyler's a dick? Well, what if he's just a dick?
what if it just makes more sense that they move on? Like,
what if you don't want a quarterback who's 5'9", $185,
and hasn't done anything?
Like, why am I sitting here doing a podcast bigger than your NFL quarterback?
Makes no sense to me.
So the Eagles do something very interesting. Like, they have very lax OTAs, and it worked for them last year. And from what I was listening to Mike Lombardi talk about, they're taking that into their full all-season program because they want to save players from injury. And Lombardi had a great quote, and he said, Belichick said, if I knew the play that a player was going to get hurt on, I'd sub him out. And I listened to Shannon talk about why he liked to play preseason because he needed to get those hits in. He needed to get it, close to game speed before playing in real games. And as a former football player, the worst part of training camp and the best part of training camp was the first few days of hitting drills where you just got that ringing fucking headache. So then, like, in a week, it doesn't hurt anymore. And in this whole player safety thing, I think we're going too far in preserving players. But I also think players training year-round is probably not the best for their bodies. Their bodies need breaks. But we got to find some middle ground because if you're not practicing football, you're not getting better at football. And there are certain things in football that cannot be simulated without playing football. And the Eagles, they started off slow last year, and they picked it up towards the end because, we're healthy at the end of the season.
They steamed us week 1.
Huh?
They fucking steamed us week 1. I mean, you remember we got trashed before we went, and then we got trashed on the way back because it was so bad. But
I mean, it was embarrassing. I mean, Jalen Hurts.
What's crazy? That might have been the best game the Eagles played all season.
I mean, they looked amazing, but that was just.
Do we put that on us being unprepared?
No, we put that on our roster being terrible.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be sure. All right.
And Arthur not knowing what he had with Cordero or Kyle Pitts.
7-9 the rest of the way, and I was impressed.
No, yeah, he turned it around.
Considering your last 3 losses were against the Saints, Bills, and 49ers. So he really, from that point on, he really went 7-6. I mean, including a blown. Yeah, come on.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
I'm optimistic about Arthur Smith. I don't think that Arthur Smith. I'm going to question Terry depending on what happens this year in terms of not us winning games, but how good the players are that he's.
You know what? Just like a nigga, you give the white man credit.
No, I'm not. No. I'm just saying this man turned chicken shit into chicken salad. That's all.
Yeah, you know how I feel about.
Give the other white guy credit too. Matt Ryan was the quarterback. I mean, let's not act like Matt Ryan wasn't quarterback in the team. I'm just simply saying.
Rich McKay has the tapes.
I just told you that was our last 3 games of the season, right?
Yeah, we should have lost all of those games.
And we did. We did lose them all.
Yeah.
We lost to the Bills, the 49ers, and the Saints. And we beat the Saints earlier in the league. Granted, Trevor Siemian was quarterbacking, but I'm just saying he went after that disaster in week 1. And then those last 3 games against basically winning teams, 2 teams that made it to their conference championships, and then one that had a winning record. He went 7-6.
Arthur Smith is not the problem.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think coaching, I'm not saying he's going to be the guy that gets this team to win a Super Bowl, but what I am saying is that I don't think he's a bad coach by any stretch of imagination. Honestly, he overachieved. I mean, I'd be surprised if he didn't get a 5th place vote for Coach of the Year. I mean, that's what he should have. I'm just saying he did a hell of a job for what we had. That team, man, let me tell you, you could name most people. I'm not even going to talk about the national guys like your Cowherds, but most people that are football heads, like I know a lot of players on teams, man, I bet they couldn't name 3 or 4 guys on the team. They named Mike Davis, Cordell Patterson, Matt Ryan.
Calvin Ridley.
I'm not even going to count Ridley.
Kyle Pitts.
Garrett, Deion Jones, and AJ Terrell. That's their 6 guys. Seriously.
You think they give us they get to Hayden Hurst?
Who? No, they might think Hayden Hurst out the league or something.
Isn't he?
No,
speaking of somebody,
CJ.
I know.
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody who should be out the league, I think Grant Cohen, who is a 49ers reporter, credentialed member of the media for the 49ers, I think he maybe should leave the league. So he's a really salacious guy. I've not listened to much that he says. I did listen to his response to Pat McAfee because I think Pat McAfee called him a rat bastard. So he and his dad got on. They did a little spill, but I can only get to.
Who is his dad?
Someone we've never heard of.
Not Andy Cohen, is it?
No, I forgot his dad's name.
Okay.
But anyways, so he and Kinlaw really got into it. So I'm gonna play this back and forth for you guys, and we're gonna discuss whether or not this guy should have a place in the media, credentialed media. Thanks, and I'm taking this clip from Pat McAfee.
Put some respect on my name, brother. I'm a man just like you. My nuts is bigger than yours, brother.
I asked you what I said about you.
My balls is bigger than yours, brother. Put some respect on my name.
All right, Javon.
Put some respect on my name, brother. Stop talking about me like I'm an animal or something, brother.
What did I say about you?
Don't worry about none of that. Don't worry about none of that. You already know.
Javon, if you're gonna come on my channel,
you want to try to bring me hardcore facts, bro.
You can come on my channel and tell me what to say and what not to say. You should have some. You should have some. What I say about that.
Nobody fucks with that. Nobody fucks with you. You don't even understand that. Nobody fucks with you, brother. You need to go find a new job. Nobody fucks with you.
What does that mean?
What you mean? What it mean? Nobody fucks with you.
It's amazing.
Are you sure? Nobody fucks with you, fam. And the only reason I'm getting on here stooping to your level this low is because I feel like it got to be done. Somebody got to do it, and it's going to be me. Somebody got to press you, fam. You like to come on here and try to bully people on the internet. But when I press up on you in fucking person, you fucking shaking like a cow with voice lighter than my fucking baby. What's up with that? What's up with that, fam?
You think I'm scared of you, Javon?
Damn, I don't give a fuck if you are or not. All I know is when I walked up on you, your fucking body temperature was fucking cold as ice.
Only person who talks to an NFL defensive lineman that says, "Do you think I'm scared of you?" is somebody who you know is about to file a lawsuit.
Check my body temperature.
Straight fit, your fucking balls shriveled up, little dick nigga.
Hey, Javon, do you think
with me, bro?
Javon, do you think you're representing the 49ers well right now?
Internet, bro.
Javon,
do you think you're representing the 49ers well? Bruh.
It's like, think about your career.
Like,
think about what the team thinks of what you're saying to me.
Think about what the team feels about what you say about us.
Like victimhood, bro. Like,
bro, it's crazy, white victimhood. And just tries to flip it on him. It's like, yo, dude.
Address it like everybody else. Richard Sherman addressed fucking Skip Bayless once on First Take. Skip took it on the chin and literally was, he was trying to defend, like saying, like, nah, I wasn't saying that you were terrible or nothing. But Richard Sherman took personal what he was trying to say. They were showing the clips of, like Roddy White burning him that year. They won the Super Bowl, obviously, the next year. But Skip didn't at least deny, like, this. And then Richard Sherman, if anything, flip it to where the player looks immature as opposed to checking you as a player. And I'm not saying Richard Sherman looked immature.
Nah, he did. He did. When he told Skip, I'm better at life than you, it's like,
yeah. Right, well, because you don't have to say that. It's just like, well, bro, we know that, I guess. Like, technically, if we're going to judge life and be like, well, you're in the NFL and he isn't, not that being in the NFL makes you better than him as a person, but like,
I know what you're saying.
And then he's like, address me as All-American. Or no, it wasn't All-American.
All-Pro, the All-Pro?
All-Pro Stanford graduate, Richard Sherman.
Bro, yeah, and and here's the thing. So Skip,
he's like, well, what are you better than Darrell Reeves at? He's like, I'm better than you.
So Skip talked about that on his podcast, and I don't listen to Skip's podcast, but I listened to that bit, and He was like, the producers were in my ear and was like, hey, do you want to cut it or do you want to bring him back for another segment? Skip was like, nah, bro, he here. Let's just keep going. Because Skip talked crazy, but if you confront Skip on what he said, he'll stand on it.
Right, and it sounded like he was acting like he didn't know what he was talking about, Grant Cohen. I mean.
So let me play the other 2 clips so we can really see this little prick.
It's Tuesday, I believe.
I just don't understand why you're so mad. Like, Javon, what are you upset about? Is it the fact that I said you have an 80-year-old knee? Is it the fact that I said that you're a terrible pass rusher and you're just a 2-down player? Is it the fact that I said the Niners shouldn't have drafted you and they should have taken Tristan Wirfs instead? Is it the fact that I said that you're unprofessional and immature? It escapes me which of the 100 negative things I've said about Javon Kinlaw the last couple of years moved him to approach me in such a way. But you know what? I applaud Javon Kinlaw for coming to speak to me directly.
Why don't you say this to him when he's on your show?
What do you think Javon's mad about?
Okay, so he asked us, what do you
Boy, AJ Hawk was getting mad. Here's the last little bit.
Very young. Because honestly, if he touched me, if he pushed me, dude, I could have retired today.
On your show.
What do you think Javon's mad about?
Okay, so he asked us, what do you think? And obviously,
because look, my dad was in the industry.
I'd have been scared if he was coming to me like that.
When I was very young. Because honestly, if he touched me, if he pushed me, dude, I could have retired today.
Oh, stop.
That's what went through my mind. I'm like, oh damn, I'm about to retire. I'm about to be out of the game. I'm about to be a multi-millionaire thanks to Javon Kinlaw.
I thought they weren't in the same room.
But no,
not on that particular conversation, but he's credentialed, so he's in the locker room. He's at practice. So apparently there's like a confrontation
before then.
So apparently there's a confrontation prior to or after. I don't know. There's a confrontation centered around this, but Javon Kinlaw kind of just wanted to come out and just be like, hey, bro, fuck you. And, you know, there is a relationship between media and athlete. And a lot of times athletes want to be like, bro, your job is to talk about me. You ain't important. Well, no, because they talk about you, more people actually care about you. So it makes you more marketable. It makes you more money. It makes you more relatable. There's an importance between the athlete and media conversation and relationship. And also it is important for the media to be honest and to be able to criticize what the athlete does when they cover them. And it's okay for the athlete to be like, hey, fuck you. I'm not rocking with you. What you said about me wasn't true. Or to be an adult and say, hey, I saw what you said. I heard what you said. Let me tell you what's going on from my perspective. Or let me tell you what you're talking about me not getting sacks. Well, schematically, here's what we do. So I'm not going to get sacks. And then you have a conversation. And I don't know. I've listened to enough sports writers talk about their back and forth with athletes. And if you're fair and you have conversations and you ask questions, and if they know you and you know them and you say, hey, I'm about to grill you. You want to see it before it comes out? Here's what it is.
That makes it not as organic either. Like, I get it. It depends on if you think that you're crossing a line and this person's a hothead. Everybody's got to take constructive criticism, right? Like, if there was something about us doing this podcast and I'm like, if I come to you and I'm like, hey, you know, we could have did that better. Now, granted, it's not something we would do while recording, right? But like at the same time, if there's something that I'm just like, hey, you know, we could have did that a little bit better, or, you know, that was a sucky topic, like something along those lines, right? And I know it's not the same as them criticizing, like, he's like criticizing his game and like saying like, man, this bum shouldn't fucking be on the team type shit, right? That's kind of what it sounded like based on when he was running off the things that he said for, you know, he already said they should have taken another player.
Which, that's fair. That's fair.
Good at what you're literally paid to do. That's kind of what he said. He said, you don't even play all the downs.
That's
like, he's kind of attacking him. It's not personal because he doesn't know him as a person. So
here's the thing. If you say, hey, he's a 2-down lineman, that's fair. Because I can tell, I would say that Jadeveon Clowney is a 2-down lineman. He's a great run stopper. He's a questionable pass rusher. That's okay.
All right. I tell you what, maybe because we're Falcons fans, I'll take that 7 or 8 sacks.
Well, yeah, I will too, because
every down line.
I mean, for us, yeah. When he says I would have rather had Tristan Wirfs over Javon Kinlaw, I go,
he's a fucking Pro Bowler his first rookie year.
I go, yeah, that's not bad. But when you say you have an 80-year-old knee, it's like, all right, man, you're going a little bit crazy. And then the way you're doing your video when after you've confronted him, and then you talk about, hey, I thought I was going to get rich because I know the game, and if he hits me, like, I'm going to sue him. It's like, okay, you're being purposefully antagonistic. And it's like, what's your end state here? Like, if you want to be the shock jock, be that, but understand that you got to see people in real life. And there's a way to be critical without being demeaning, right? And when he talks about, hey, don't talk about me like I'm an animal or some stuff, it's like, hey, can you just have a little bit of sympathy, a little bit of empathy when you talk about us? Like, we got families, we got feelings too. And sometimes our players or people who are covered super sensitive. Yeah, because don't nobody want to be told their shit stinks, but that's why you flush it down the toilet, But Eric Armstead came out and was like, this is the type of low life we let into our building. He would rather antagonize and provoke players into hitting him so he can retire instead of just doing his job of journalism. Greg Kittle. So, like, I wasn't scared. I don't know. He said, so I wasn't scared. I was just surprised that he crossed the line because honestly, if he touched me, if he pushed me, dude, I could have retired. Okay. He takes the dude's quote and he goes, it's crazy to me that someone who's allowed into our building has the mindset / goal to antagonize and irritate players with their end game of being this. I thought players and reporters were supposed to work together. Being in the building, let alone this league, is an opportunity. It's not a right. People get really comfortable typing behind the screen. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but continuing to go after a player habitually seems like someone whose goal isn't to report or write a story.
They're borderline biased fans, right? Like, that's kind of what it sounds like. Like, like I said, I hate to bring up my team, but that's what I can relate it to. Even with the Falcons, there's an obvious Falcons bias. Like, that's why every year I place money on them to win the Super Bowl. I won't be doing that this year. And I didn't do it last year either. But literally, what's even crazier? The year we went to the Super Bowl was the one year I didn't even place a bet on them to win the Super Bowl. But nonetheless, every other year I place a bet on the Falcons to win the Super Bowl because I have a bias. I'd like to believe, based on the teams that we had,
are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Based on the teams that we did have, I always thought that we really did have a chance because there's a biasness there. It's not delusional. It's realistic because they went to the Super Bowl the one year I didn't bet it, and I haven't bet it the last 2 years. But the point is, or last year plus, I'm not betting it this year.
Please
when I
don't.
get out there, I'm going to look at the odds, but I'm not going to. Maybe I'll put $10 on it, man, just
there's a delusion that comes with fandom, but there's also a reality. And when we get on here,
money on it, like, they're getting paid. Like, both of them are getting paid from it.
Right.
We don't get paid. But what we're getting is, it's supposed to be joy. It's supposed to be a release from whatever. Then not like life sucks. Now the one time I can do something, this is what I want and this is all I want. Like my life sucks. No, it's just supposed to be some enjoyment. And growing up, I'm sure just like you, like growing up watching this has always been a product that, granted, they've never been great, but I'm a supporter of where I'm from. Like, I love being from Georgia. I love being technically, to armor in. I'm not Atlanta, but I feel like I am. And so, like, I love everything about it. The Falcons have been a big part of my life. It's a big part of the relationship that I have with my mom. I love the Falcons. Like, the Falcons, they have a big, that's why I'm going to get it I'm going to get the logo tattooed eventually. The next time, I haven't been to a tattoo artist in 10 years. But the point is like, I love the Falcons. But this is even more of a reason why I think that they should honestly, and it's a market that's untapped, it's kind of a gray area, they really should have fans host and do stuff like this.
But,
and I get it.
but here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing, though.
People.
Here's the thing.
That discuss on forums and talk about this stuff.
That's fine. I think you can let the fans go on forums, but as somebody who podcasts and I take it seriously, and it's something that I want to do for a career at some point in my life, right? And even when I'm critical of people and I make jokes about people, I think about it from the perspective of, will I ever see this person? Will this person see this clip? And if they see this clip and then I meet them, can I still have a conversation or possibly build a relationship with that person? The type of stuff that Grant was doing isn't that. When you're saying like, hey, I'm not afraid of you, but if you hit me, I'm going to sue you. It's like you are stirring up shit just because you can, and because you go back to the white victimhood. I think that fans having a perspective and getting the opportunity to speak about their team on a higher level, I think it should be there. There shouldn't only be Skip Bayless and Bill Simmons who are no shit fans, and they come out and they have a national voice of fandom. But when it goes beyond fandom, because a lot of fans talk crazy about these people because fans have a sense of ownership over a team that they pay to watch, which makes no sense to me. I'm like, bro, you pay to see this product in person. You pay for this gear. You don't own a damn thing that goes on here. All the thing you own is a delusional sense of belonging to something that you don't belong to. And I am that too. Like, I have bad days when the Falcons lose games I think they should win, and I shouldn't. It does not change my life.
It doesn't, right? But because you're so invested, not even financially, just like I said, for me,
that financial investment changes it too, though.
It does. Well, it changes the tune of how you feel about how things are being done and ran. Like, of course you feel a certain type of way. It's just like losing in the stock market. Somebody fucking told you this, that, and the third, like, about that shit, like, or what it is that you know about it, and it's just like, how does that happen? It's all gambling. Like I said,
yeah,
even that is just a corporate. It's just a corporate casino, and so like it falls under this umbrella. But what I'm saying from the fan perspective of what I believe should happen, I've always wanted to do something like this, like, because I think it would be so great if it's given the opportunity. Just like Arthur Blank, I'm not saying Arthur Blank has to do it. They should pick out fans, and they don't have to base it on how long they've been season ticket holders, whatever. Because you don't want a yes man either. You don't want a yes man, and you don't want a guy that just does nothing but sits up and criticizes the team. They should put together something. Or maybe you even can combine the three. The level-headed person that's realistic about the team, the state of the team. That's probably your host. Then you have the I'm still a fan, clearly, because I spend my money and I do nothing but criticize the team. And then the yes man of, well, we have to look at it this way. Like, I love this team. They really should put together like a committee and have fans put into this. Like, I've always thought that could be something. Like, as biased as I might seem towards the Falcons, I'm also very realistic about them. And I'm just speaking specifically about them. I think that just from a media standpoint, I'm not trying to take away from the creatives or the people that are just in the
I see where you're going with. I see where you're going with this. Let's table this though, right? Like, I really want to talk about this.
We can go in depth in this on another.
Yeah. I think that's something we can really like dive into, and maybe it's something we don't talk about on the podcast because it's something that we could try to do something with.
Fair enough.
But this Grant Cohen guy, if he covered the Falcons the way, just with this little bit you saw, like how would you feel about this guy? Would you want him covering your team?
Julio Jones, if he covered the team 2 years ago, he would be like, this guy Julio, one of the greatest receivers of all time, fucking takes off plays. Every fucking play.
He takes off his hamstring.
He would tell him that he's got 80-year-old hamstrings. I mean, so like I get where he was coming from. He just seems super duper subjective as opposed to objective. He does seem a little like biased. It seems like there's a little biasness in everything that he's saying because you're attacking this guy. Like, I get it. Like I said, constructive criticism to me, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's good. But now with the day and age of social media, how do we know that he didn't set this up? He didn't know maybe that Kinlaw was going to like go at him like that. But how do we know that you don't set this up to get the views to where we're talking about it? Like, I think that's
why he's doing it, and I think that's why like
we've never heard of this motherfucker.
No, Debo said he blocked him, and I think a lot of media outlets didn't take it and run with it because they're like, nah, bro, we're not giving you this clout. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve this clout because we don't respect you as is. You know, I think he grew up watching Skip Bayless and wanted to be like, you know what? Evan Shapiro goes, you know what? Tucker Carlson, Glenn Beck, I got one for you. Shapiro. And that's what we have. And, you know, we try to compare people in different ball games, right? Like we got the Matt Ryan, Jimmy Butler thing. And then I was just talking about him being a spinoff of Skip Bayless. And we decided to give these media personalities music artists. And we started off with rappers. And then we kind of expanded it. And I created a list. And then we started working a list together. So speaking of Skip, I said Skip is Lil Wayne. And here's why I say Skip is Lil Wayne. Because both had a run as that guy in their lane. You know, Skip started Debate TV. Like, there was not Debate TV without Skip Bayless.
Not even just like cold pizza.
Right. Just like Wayne made hopping on other people's track and smoking it like a thing. Yeah, he wasn't the first to do it, but he made it cool. And Skip said some wild shit that wouldn't nobody else say, but it kind of be making sense, even though you know it don't make sense. Just like Wayne, when he be rapping, he be saying some wild stuff that nobody else will say. But you listen to, you go, yeah, that makes sense. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. You go, ooh, nigga, how your brain go there?
Yeah, you could take it away. Everybody can take it a certain way, and like some people think that that's a whack lyric, but
they're stupid. Like,
and Wayne made bad music. Like, he's an example of an artist that's made some of the best raps of all time. Steph Curry was held to 0 points in the second quarter after 21. Nonetheless,
refs are probably working their mojo in the second quarter. That's a topic.
They're down right now at halftime. Crazy.
That's a topic I meant to bring, but we'll bring it next week. So I got Shannon Sharp. And I don't know how much I like this one, but I say he's ODB, right? And I say he's ODB because super popular, says some wild stuff. You know what I mean? Like, just says some wild stuff on TV, but is loud and boisterous. And it's just sometimes it's like, hey, bro, that's too much. Like, hey, man, why do you have 15 packs of backwoods right now, dog? You're not smoking all that weed today.
And ODB, obviously, was somebody that, from that perspective, I'm not saying like Shannon's got a problem, but obviously he died as a result of kind of all that stuff that he was doing. But not a bad comparison. If I modernize it, because I know that we were going to do, because like we said, pre-production, no Biggie, no Pac, like there's nobody you could really compare them to. And he's ODB's a dead artist, of course, right? So like, right. You can look at it a couple of different ways. I think I agree. Like, I can see how you came up with that, basically. But even with Shannon, I would say from a unapologetic standpoint, and this is just kind of who I am and like deal with it, and like I'm gonna say it, kind of Future-esque in a weird way.
You know, as you were saying that, I started thinking maybe 2 Chainz. Because 2 Chainz says, like, 2 Chainz has like the crazy ad libs, the crazy lines. And I go, so what we thinking? Future 2 Chainz? Because Shannon does double down on himself, like Future double down on being toxic.
Yeah, well, and just saying like certain stuff. I mean, this motherfucker called Julio Jones on live TV. Now, we don't know if that was set up to do that, but the fact that he called him and then he said, Julio, are you going to be a foul? He's like, I'm out of there. Like, what type of shit is that, bro?
Bro,
like,
hey,
for real. Like, for
Julio
the
knew.
like, humble ass of the position where there's nothing but divas and people that do all these dances, Julio's been like the consummate professional receiver. But for whatever reason, after a decade with the team, he gets on national, knowing now maybe Julio didn't know.
No. Julio knew.
Did not know that he was on TV. Actually,
come on now. No, Julio knew. Julio knew they were on. Like they're on TV. They're on TV at that time every day. Even if you don't watch Stephen A. Even if you don't watch Skip and Shannon,
you know what their job is.
You know when they're on TV because
it's live, right? It's not recorded.
Yeah, it's live. Because
So
Cowherd told a story yesterday about how he was at a party where Stan Kroenke was at, and he was like, "I know you," and Cowherd's like, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, people send me your stuff." So like, if an owner knows a sportscaster just off of face, and I hear what you say about me and my team, you know good and well Julio Jones knows that 9:30 on the East Coast, Skip and Shannon are on until 12.
Because he's on the East Coast.
Exactly.
Even more so. He ain't like and granted, them niggas, they be up. He ain't training at 6 a.m. because they're out in LA, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But point being, I would lean Future a little. Like
I like that.
Unapologetic-esque truth. And he's Future's got a unique, as an artist, he's a unique person because he's literally the last member of the Dungeon family. He's like the last person, at least notable one, that we can think of from that. And that's a 90s thing, but he's a part of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was CeeLo. I forgot who it was, but somebody had said that's how he even got his name, Future, because they were like, "You the future."
Ah, that makes sense.
Like that was how he got his name, and so like Shea being, I would argue today at least, is the most popular former athlete.
Well, he has the biggest platform of all the former athletes because there is no
this thing. I mean, this was a guy that was on CBS at one point, but was also on HBO. I remember when they used to do the weekly show on HBO. He was on it, and so he's grown to get to this.
Yeah, no, like he's put in the work and he had the personality to get it. So let's go to another guy who has personality and's put in work. Stephen A. Smith. I have him as DJ Khaled because he's just everywhere. He's just everywhere. And he doesn't have much.
Greater. Go ahead.
Huh?
Go.
He doesn't have much substance. He just says wild stuff and it goes.
But he did have substance. DJ Khaled is so lazy though. Like, and I say that
he's lazy now.
I have no idea what work he put in as a DJ, but he doesn't produce. Like We Taking Over was the first thing that I can remember hearing of his. I know he had that album before and there was a track I can remember, but like We Taking Over to me is what did it for Khaled. And I think a lot of people our age would like say that, like that We Taking Over was like the start of DJ Khaled. Because that was the name of the album too. It was We Taking Over, but the name of the song is We Taking Over. And it's just dun, 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 convict music. Like we all know and then T.I. kicking the shit off. We all know. My point with Stephen A. is that Stephen A. was actually reputable as fuck. Yeah, I'm not saying that Khaled isn't, because plenty of people have given him his flowers. People have given him his flowers. Who's that? He just got our star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Jay-Z was there. It was like Yo Gotti and Nas or somebody. Like they were present for this moment.
When you put Future, Beyonce, and Jay-Z on a song together, when you do We Taking Over, when you have the features he has on his albums, he has the credibility. But what we see,
the sucky part is he's no fucking Quincy Jones. Like Quincy Jones collaborates with people.
Well, yeah, I mean, You gonna call Stephen A. Quincy Jones?
No, he's not that either. I'm just simply
so
saying,
what's your Stephen A. comp?
Well, I got. This is what I'm trying to say. I got why you compared. It makes a ton of sense. Just kind of just saying whatever, like, and just kind of, and it always picking up steam. You know, whether that be him getting up and like Stephen A. is a meme these days. Right. I'm just saying, I think that the work that he had put in even before, and I'm not saying that Cal didn't. It's just I don't see it from that perspective.
Cal put in work,
Stephen A. Stephen A. You could argue is really the most popular.
He's probably the most popular talking head.
Yeah, he's like the most I know people would argue him or Skip, but like he's probably still the most popular because he's more meme than Skip.
Yeah, well, right? Skip's not working that hard. Stephen A. also like does way more work than everybody else.
Yeah. He does the NBA show like on ABC. Like right now, he's about to be talking at halftime. He's got the show, obviously. He does a radio. I know he did a radio show. I don't know if he still does.
I don't know if he still does it, but like that's why I call him DJ Khaled because he's everywhere. And
I won't even argue with it because I can't even think of a better comment.
He does too much, honestly. So here's the one that I was iffy on, and I think we'll talk about it. Is I did Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright as Jay-Z and Kanye, and I said that because I think Colin, when it comes to just microphone talk, and it's my bias, I don't think anybody consistently in the sports space is doing better than Colin. And the way he's like kind of expanded, and like I don't know what everyone else is doing, but now he has his own podcast network, but he's still doing the Fox piece, and the way he leverages that, he has his other different businesses. Like he has his restaurant, he owned a winery at one point, he has his real estate, like he has his hands in a lot of stuff, and at the end of the day, like he's really that guy. And although we hear from him every day, he's not super touchable. You know what I mean? Like he's in a different space. Like Colin's not really relatable. The stuff he talks about is relatable, but he's not.
He has arguably the best show.
I think he has the best show.
Of all the, not just on FS1, but ESPN too. And you know what the issue with NBC is? Peacock and that stuff, the way they have it, it's not as publicized. Mm-mm. And even on YouTube, because that's how I catch Sims and Florio. Like I catch them on YouTube. So it's like I'm not waking up watching
you shouldn't
talk. Like I'm not getting up. And then it's like if I don't have Peacock, I have to get online. Like there's just a lot. And everybody's got a life, right? And so it's just like there can't be as publicized about it. You know, when we watch Sunday Night Football, when that's on, or a Notre Dame game, they might flash it up and be like, and you can catch Florio and Sims on Pro Football Talk at 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And it's crazy. And same thing, even with Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen. Like, I mean, these guys have shows on there too.
Oh shit! I didn't even tell you where I got Dan Patrick. I didn't tell you here in pre-production, did I?
No, you didn't.
So I got Nick as Kanye because he's the younger understudy, a bit more wild and brash, does some stuff. You're like,
not as great though.
Huh?
Not as great.
But no.
From a broadcasting standpoint.
No, he's not. But
does he have potential to even be the best? Like, you know what I mean? Like Kanye, like
I've got to see him work by himself. And I need to see him take some more lumps to refine his style. Dan Patrick, I had him as Q-Tip. OG, super, super talented. Does a little bit of this, does a little bit of that. But again, this is when I was thinking in the frame of rappers, and I was even trying to like timeline.
I feel like he's kind of low key. I see how you did the Colin thing, but he's like, I mean, this Sports Center's top guy.
Is he bigger than Colin today, though?
Who is Scott Van Pelt?
I didn't even think about SVP.
And he's the best on ESPN.
I don't watch that network enough, but yeah, he is.
I watch him.
I mean, yeah, he's worth the watch.
I watch him.
Hey, let's push through this. I want to watch some games.
But we're still at halftime. But yes. Let's finish before it gets back to the second start.
Hey, so
wait. Can we come up with one for SVP real quick?
Think about it as I talk through this next one because I can't. I got nothing for him.
Go.
Bill Simmons. At first, I went Master P. Then I changed my mind and I made him Diddy.
And I agree. In pre-production, we talked about that.
Okay.
I think that was a great one.
I got Ryan Russillo as Snoop. I got him as Snoop because he's good. He can do a lot of different things. The way Russillo can break down NFL, NBA, college football, and he can talk about culture and stuff. Like he can touch damn near everything. But I think he's underappreciated. And as much as we see Snoop doesn't have a Grammy, and that's fucking insane.
He doesn't.
You had a good one, Doris Burke, Nicki Minaj. Just the best woman to do it.
Yep. It's plain and simple.
Let's see. We did Al Michaels. We said Elton John, and that's where we had to open it up outside of hip hop, even though no one else is outside of hip hop. Because we got another one. Never mind. We got Elton John as Al Michaels. Then we got Chris Collinsworth as the baby. That's yours.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll explain. I thought of somebody that nobody necessarily wants to hear, but they continue to just hear him. And I don't think the baby is terrible, but it's like it seems like no matter what this guy does, it's a constant cycle. And obviously, we're not going to compare their personal lives. We know with any of these comparisons aren't feasible. They never are. But I just thought that fit him a little bit better. Chris Collinsworth one time was like, never forget it. I think it was the Falcons were playing, and Michael Vick was the quarterback, and he said, what a gutsy call by the Falcons. He said, Michael Vick throwing the ball 10 yards into the wind. And
have you seen his arm?
Well, more importantly, we're not talking about that Buffalo New England Monday night game where they literally couldn't throw the ball. Yeah, man. Yeah, they threw the ball. It was 3rd and 12. I mean, I guess Vic could have tried to run if he wanted. He might have not gotten it, but we drew up a pass play on 3rd and 12, and I just couldn't believe it. I'll never forget it. It was obviously early into him calling games. Because if Vic was the Falcons quarterback, I can tell you how long ago it was, but I never forgot it. We joke about it. Me and my brothers, we joke about it all the time because that's exactly what he said. He literally said, what a gutsy call by the Atlanta Falcons that getting Michael Vick to throw the ball 10 yards into the wind. One of the strongest armed quarterbacks of all time.
I don't think I've listened to a Chris Collinsworth game with the volume on in 4 years.
It's just one of those things. So with SVP, I pulled out who I think just because we haven't brought him up.
Nothing's like,
and it wouldn't count. It's not from the perspective of longevity because SVP's been doing this for a minute, but in terms of his greatness and kind of the way he does it, being different from anyone else, give me K-Dot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
he's that guy. Like
he is. And bonus, we really have to honestly hit him. And I tell you what, we'll compare him to one of the dead guys too. Stuart Scott.
Was he Pac?
Dude. You can give him Pac or Big. How about
we love what you did, but we want some more.
Gone too soon.
Yeah.
Even though he had a long run himself, but like Stuart Scott. Probably my favorite ESPN guy. He was my favorite. Obviously, the being black aspect of it was certainly a part of it, but I don't think that anyone held a flame to him in terms of
he was a nigga too.
He was different, man.
So we got Romo as Drake. You know what you're gonna get, and it works, and you like it.
And it's gonna be the same.
Yeah. We couldn't come up with Michael Smith or Jamel Hill. The Osmonds, Donnie and Marie. They were great when they were great, but who gives a damn about them? Separately.
really, this is one we didn't touch that we should have. What about the Fox guys? Terry, Jimmy, Howie, Michael, and now
Well, if we made Chuck and them WuTang, what we gonna make him?
I hope you're not gonna say like Odd Future or something.
Man, hell no. Listen to Odd Future. We'll call them the Dungeon Family.
But then we're adding in some well, I guess because technically we already did the former Fox guys.
Or
yes, I mean,
I'm trying to think. Cause I feel like they're a record label. Or they could be like Death Row Records. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like they gotta be like a label. They gotta be like good music or something. You know what I mean?
They're not a group, they're a label.
Yeah, they got because they're all individual
for a very long time. That has been, but at TNT you gave WuTang, and they're kind of a label too.
Yeah,
because they've been the same. I mean, Shaq is relatively new, I guess, but like,
you want to call it a Tribe Called Quest?
Nah, man.
I don't either.
You gotta do something better than that.
Backstreet Boys, NSYNC.
Let's give them a band. Let's give them like
the Beatles,
Led Zeppelin. I mean, I don't give a fuck.
A legendary band. I like that.
But
Boys to Men,
Kiss, some shit. Like, you know what I mean? They gotta be.
Bro, I don't really know these good white bands like that.
Who's selling out? It's not Led Zeppelin. I mean, they do, I'm sure too.
Aerosmith.
Yeah, let's give them like Aerosmith or something. Fucking Aerosmith.
Yeah, like, hey, insert great white band that's not the Beatles.
Yeah, just because that's like too old. I didn't want to do something too old. Matter of fact, it's as simple as doing this. If I just look at this, let's see. They are, you can say Van Halen.
I was gonna say Van Halen. Queen.
Like I said, I personally love Nirvana. Like
I do too.
Love Nirvana.
What about Metallica? I'm a Metallica guy.
Metallica. They're not. Limp Bizkit doesn't fall under that.
Nah. We're not going there.
Fall Out Boy, no.
Fuck no. Backstreet Boys still standing NSYNC.
Yeah, but they were so short-lived.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. They don't have the history, and they're not touring.
Yeah, bro. You got to do one of these bands that tours today and still sells out.
Boys to Men?
Coldplay.
Okay, we got it. Hey, great band. We got Marley Querum, and I still don't like this one, but I think it's right. Cardi B, you're in my face every day, but you annoy the hell out of me.
Hey, the woman agreed, correct?
Yeah. The problem is I like Cardi.
She didn't hear us, and that was her first take too. And so
the problem is I like Cardi.
But
I like Cardi B, and I don't like Molly Querum.
It's because you're more attracted to Cardi B. Cardi B looks great.
Yeah.
Even with the surgery and all that, like Cardi B is still a stunner. Like,
yeah, stone cold.
I do a lot, but nonetheless,
I do less.
Offset. Atlanta boys, they're gonna keep winning, boy. I tell you. But
and so lastly, we got Joy. Not lastly, we got two more. We've got Joy, and I was gonna call her Glorilla from I'm FNF fuck nigga free because she's just bitter. She's just bitter, like.
Sound like you're talking about something about some woman that hot dog. You know, that's kind of how you were talking about in the group, not to let the locker room.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes, absolutely. Like
hot dog is, but kind of like how you were talking about how this said female, based on her post, what she felt.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's begging for somebody to pull up in those DMs. So,
well, not just pull up in those DMs, but.
Pull up in that,
jerk that pistol. Go to work. Yeah.
So I kind of want to like break down this Joy thing a little bit more, right? Because I listen to The Herd every day, and I've gotten to the point to where now I zoom through the news segments because it feels like Joy does not want to be at work. It feels like she doesn't want to talk sports anymore. Her insight is just off. Like the other day, she said she wouldn't want to get in business with Kanye West because she was talking about Aaron Donald and Jaylen Brown joining Donda Sports. I'm like, Kanye's a billionaire. What are you talking? Like, shut up. Like, you sound stupid.
Joy
is she like? I don't even want to call her Lotto because I like Lotto.
Oh, Big Lotto.
Yeah, Big Lotto. Yeah, I like Big Lotto.
We saw her once when I forgot what her first song was. It was out.
She's a very freaky girl. That one.
It was before that. Whatever the first song was. That
You saw her at a show or you saw her like in person? Like,
no, I saw her at Zari. It's like it's in Buckhead. It's like a hookah lounge.
Should have bought her a drink.
I mean, she's blown up since then. Like,
yeah, no chance.
But we saw because Justice was the one. He's like, in that mulatto, and I was just like, who's that? I didn't even know who he was. So like,
I can't think of a good one for Joy, but she needs to be somebody who was kind of good, fell off, and just doesn't want to do it anymore. Sounds like Megan Thee Stallion to me.
That's fair. Sure.
Why not? Meg is bitter.
He's technically, I mean, I don't know who everybody considers the median ground. You know, who's the best of the host / like women on these type of shows? You know, because what's her face that they brought up the LeBron James thing about not that long ago. She used to be one.
Beadle?
Yeah, Michelle Beadle.
I like Michelle Beadle.
And then, you know, we got to even get into people like your
Carrie Champion?
I wasn't even going to bring her up. I was thinking more sideline reporters.
I don't care about those people. They offer nothing.
What's her face on Fox that's been on? She was on Madden.
The nappy-headed girl?
No, the white chick.
I don't know.
I don't think it's popular one ever. That
Michelle Tafoya?
Who was getting recorded in their hotel room?
I don't remember.
Fox.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember.
Top sideline girl on Fox.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember her name because
the most popular name. Hold on, sideline girl.
Aaron Andrews.
Aaron Andrews is Taylor Swift.
Fair. Can we get rid of sideline reporters?
White innocence.
Can we get rid of sideline reporters?
It adds a touch to the game. I wouldn't get rid of it.
It does nothing for me. So let's close this one out with our last one. Actually, hold on, one more before that. Who the hell is Jim Rome?
Jim's an OG, so it's got to be somebody that's an OG.
Eminem? Because he says crazy shit.
There we go.
Jim Rome's Eminem.
That would fit kind of perfectly. Because I had to think of an OG that doesn't. Because now Jim, he kind of sits back and that's honestly great. When Jim
decides
his heyday, you know, there's the whole thing with that fight that he had. Rome is burning. Talk about a guy getting shit off his chest. Rome. He's got the famous line in Space Jam.
He's like, tennis
racket. Talking about fucking Michael Jordan.
Yo, if you want to hear a guy get his shit off, listen to Jim Rome.
Great on the radio too.
His TLR DUI is great, and anytime he was talking about Urban Meyer, it's some of the best radio I've ever listened to. So, lastly, we have John Madden as Michael Jackson. I mean, just larger than life.
Larger than life, the video game, of course, which of course he's going to be on this year, even though, like we kind of talked about in the group, nobody buys video games in person. So I guess when you download it, regardless, the cover actually loads on the screen before you press start. So, I mean, it's the same thing at the end of the day. Nobody's collecting video games. I mean, some people do,
and it's not fun anymore. I'm not hanging out with my friend. I'm not hanging out with my friends playing it in the room now. So I have no desire to play Madden.
And that's kind of what I was telling everybody in the group. I haven't played, man. I've got some video games still sitting in my moving boxes. Moved here over a year ago. And Like, and I only have them just to have. Like, I don't even have them because I actually play them. I literally have them because I just have them. And every now and then, I like to crank up my old video games, but my TV doesn't even allow me to play that type of stuff. So,
goddamn technology.
It's fucking our world, right?
I know. Oh wow, JP's having fun. Well, anything else you want to hit? It's been 2.5 hours, and I want to watch some of the game.
I do too. I think we're good. This has honestly been a fantastic show too.
Oh man, it's been a great time.
It really has.
Do this again next week.
It's a date.
All right, man. Y'all have fun in Vegas and send fun stuff to the group text so I can live vicariously through all of you all.
You will be seeing it, I promise. Let's hope that I get this 100K parlay.
All right, Doc.
All right, brother. Take care.